Collingwood about to start in about 6.5 minutes' time, not too far away. Should be a fantastic game. This one tonight, North Melbourne, of course, been in terrific form, drawing last week. No, they had a win last week against Richmond, of course, drawing to the Brisbane Lions, who sit on top of the AFL ladder at present. And of course, Collingwood coming off a good win also. What makes to be a fantastic game happening this evening. Let's just have a little bit of a look at the ladder, where these two teams sit on the ladder. And of course, Collingwood there sitting on second on the ladder. They've played 10, 8 wins, 2 losses, 32 points, just a half a game behind Brisbane on the ladder. So if Collingwood happen to win tonight's game, they will go to the top of the table, the AFL ladder for 2025. Their percentage is 129.4. And of course, we have a look right down the other end of the table. North Melbourne down there in 17th position, played 10, won 2, lost 7, and of course, 1 draw. Carly, how you going? Blue Mountains Australia, go Pies here. I'm going for the Pies too. We want the Pies to win, for the Pies to get back on top of the ladder. Just have a look at the teams here for North Melbourne. Coming in, Paul Curtis, Zach Fisher going out, Bailey Scott, Zane Dersma going out. And of course, for Collingwood coming in, Olive Markov, William Hayes going out, probably just resting the old boys. Still side bottom going out with Bobby Hill. William Hayes is a new player. And of course, the milestone game, there is only one for this match. And that is, of course, William Hayes' debut game for the Magpies. We look at the North Melbourne side. The fullbacks, we've got Coombe, Pink, Core, the halfbacks, Hardman, Daniel Schniesel, the centres, Stevens, Ukanaki and Simkin, the half forwards, Curtis, Larky, McKercher, the forwards, Maley, Darling and Zerha. Zerha will be looking for a big game from him tonight, with Darling also. Of course, the followers are Aziri, Wardlaw and Powell. The interchanges are there, O'Sullivan, McDonald, Fisher, Parker, Constanelli. And for the Magpies, the fullback, of course, they're a pretty good unit. Maynard, Frampton, Josh Dacos, the halfbacks, Harry Perryman, Jeremy the Flying Howe, Dan Houston, the centres this evening, Edward Allen, Nick Dacos, the superstar, and Jack Crisp continues to stretch that unbroken tally week after week. The half forwards there for the Magpies, Bo McCreary, Tim Membry, Oleg Markov, good to see him back in the side. And of course, the forwards also looking for a big game from, of course, again, Jamie Elliott, Brody Myercheck, Lucky Sullivan, the followers, Darcy Cameron, Ned Long, Scott Pendlebury, although I did hear rumours that Pendles is out of this game. So we'll just have to wait and see if that rumour is fact or not. Of course, the interchange, Lipinski, Quaynor, Hoskin Elliott, Hayes and Mason Cox. Tell you what, we're in for a fantastic game this evening. Of course, we are hoping for the Magpies to get up in this bout today. Of course, Collingwood going in as hot favourites in this match. We're only 3 minutes away from the bounce of the ball to the opening quarter. The Magpies are expected to get this job done this evening, and done well. As I said, going into this game, short price favourites over North Melbourne. But then again, you don't want to be taking any team too easy, because North Melbourne are they're in fine form. They're playing the best form I think they have been all season. They're certainly an up-and-coming side. And make no mistake, Collingwood does not want to take North Melbourne too lightly, or it just might come back to bite them on their backside. Of course, I think we're going to have a good crowd in there at Marvel Stadium tonight. Probably should get about 45,000 in there. Should be nearly a packed crowd. We're hoping for as we get into this game. During this game, folks, we will keep you up to date with the other game that's will be happening, and of course that's Fremantle and Port Adelaide. Of course, that game is being played over at Optus Stadium, which kicks off in about 37 minutes time over there. So we'll try and keep you up to date with the scores there in that other match today. And of course, in the other games that we had played today, of course, Carlton defeated the GWS Giants. I should say the GWS Giants defeated Carlton. GWS Giants 110, Carlton 82. And in that classic game we just watched not too long ago, it was Brisbane Lions 93. Strong winners Brisbane Lions back to their best, defeating Hawthorn 60. So big winners there. And of course, Thursday night, it was the Cats got up over the Western Bulldogs. And Essendon Friday night football got up over Richmond 81-58. So that is what's happening this evening, folks. We've got the big match, North Melbourne Collingwood, coming up in just a moment. And of course, as I said, I'll keep you up to date with the Fremantle Port Adelaide game. And of course, tomorrow's games, we've got Adelaide West Coast. We've got Melbourne taking on Sydney and St Kilda taking on the Gold Coast Suns, which is going to be a fascinating game. All right, that's enough from me talking. I just want to welcome in everybody who's in the chat. Ella Rose, how you going? Shouty. Pies by 42, Frio by 45, Pies by 27. Yeah, I'm hoping the Magpies go by a decent margin here. Good sides. You want to you don't want to take it lightly. You want to just play your brand of football and continue to press for 4 quarters. All right, folks. Hey, that's enough of me talking. Let's get back down to the action, and we'll get back down to the ground. And the commentators will take us into the bounce of the ball for the opening quarter in 20 seconds' time.
Kelly play. He's the guy that he reminds me of most. I think you can out-want an opposition to win the ball. You can want it more. You can show greater intensity, and his want jumps off the field at me. So I'm really interested to see what that does in a contest where Collingwood is so used to being able to just put their opposition in a sleeper hole. So can George Wardlaw break through that initial pressure and provide opportunities for his teammates?
Yeah, good point. A little bit of North Melbourne royalty downstairs as well. Cam Mooney, three-time premiership. Come, what can you, Cam?
Thank you very much, everybody. Yeah, look, going to be an awesome atmosphere down here at the moment. It is filling up, expecting 40+ thousand, which is incredible. We're going to see two of the best ruckmen going at it tonight, boys. Cherry and Cameron, both vying for that All-Australian jumper over Max Gorn. Let's have a look at the numbers there. Clearly two of the best ruckmen going around right now. Huge contest in the middle of the ground. We saw North Melbourne last week, plus 21 in clearances, so they're in great form through the middle, coming up against a very good Collingwood team, as we know, guys. This is going to be a belter. Can't wait.
Thanks, Burns, and the forward line's a little different as well. So no penalty, late withdrawal. Bobby Hill is out for Collingwood as well. Elliott out of the goal square, and the debutant Will Hayes starting inside 50 as well for Collingwood. Waters in readiness. There's games and then there's Collingwood games, and this is threatening to be a big one given the two head-to-head after last year's epic. 54 points down, Collingwood were last year and won that game. Off the hands, Curtis back in the lineup, back onto the Sharon, over to Wardlaw, caught.
Well, Georgie Wardlaw charged out of the centre bounce here. He lit him up here last year in the corresponding game when he set up a big match-winning lead. Looked like a match-winning lead for North Melbourne when they came back.
Curtis should have gone for it, shouldn't he?
Yeah, sometimes you can be a little bit too unselfish.
McCreary sends it long and he finds Elliott. The line check in the goal square waiting for it. Elliott took a bit of heat there and he didn't like it. Pink.
Nice little cork.
Making him a little red.
Nice little cork to the lower back or the upper buttock. But not the ideal thing that you want in your first contest, but already Collingwood able to move the ball from a kick in to this position where they set up so well. It's so hard to get the ball out of their scoring zone because they've been able to go in this organised fashion.
Centres it and turns it to Curtis, who doing it at both ends at the moment. He's in All-Australian form, or at least was before he was out with suspension. He's got to be a contender for the 40, if not the 22.
Look at Elliott down here, guys. He's still in a fair bit of pain with that corky.
Pink, who's the hero last week, knocks it to the goal, gave it to Simpkin. Hammers it long, Larky got there. Zerha was also in good form last week. Sheasel back to Wardlaw on the back pedal. Floats it wide towards Darling, got under it, and Frampton knocks it to the line and kills it.
Willie Frampton's been excellent in Collingwood's best form in the last 5 or 6 weeks. He's been so reliable as that big key defender that locks away the biggest key forward for the opposition. And when you know that you got that locked away, the other defenders can play their roles a lot easier.
That ruck battle, Sherry perfect down to Simpkin. A wobbler though. Frampton went with a double fister. Darling went for the Sharon. Snapped up by Howe. So Elliott's still getting some treatment, trying to get himself warm. He's Collingwood's #1 goal scorer this year. They've got so many out, they can't afford to maybe have him out of this game early. Nick Dacos feeds it. Zerhardt eating the sandwich. Collingwood hasn't had a 50-goal kicker in a season since Bucks coach Travis Cloak 10 or so years ago now, 2013. They did mix it up a bit, Collingwood. A push off from Curtis. Dacos throws that out to Allen, and
You only get 1 or 2 50-goal kickers in the competition these days.
yes, that's true. Yeah, Travis Cloak was 68 back in 2013, the last time it happened. My chick's been kicking plenty, but 47, 41, 34, 26 to win the goal kicking in recent seasons. Of course, he didn't win it last year. Wainor hands it off. Maynard rolls it away. Elliott gets a piece of it. McCreary in space. Membry screaming for it. He ignores that. He tumbles the chaos ball inside 50. My check attacks Peck. Oh, that's a beautiful wrap-up. Is he gone?
6 Collingwood forwards are off to the races. And, Jamie Elliott wins that ball, and then they just spread. They run in waves. It's so hard to... even a chaos ball like that does need to be directed. There's always going to be a contest.
Membry long, and he's awkwardly dumped by Wardlaw. LDU. Oh, that's got to be goal.
Yeah. It's part of their strength, Collingwood. Their front half game's outstanding. The maximum pressure. They've got those small, medium forwards. Here's George Wardlaw's got the blood nose. He's in it under it.
I'd say that was self-inflicted, Brad. He made that big tackle.
Gee, charged in nowhere. He's a cold hero for the North Melbourne team. But North have worked on it really hard the last 2 or 3 weeks to restrict teams' ball movement. So they've been disappointed. Just a couple of times Collingwood have been able to move the ball from end to end too easily.
Ned Long had 9 tackles last week in the win over Adelaide, the most for Collingwood. Would be only appropriate if he kicked a goal from his early tackle tonight. He can't, and it's not through for a behind, but he's been a great inclusion. Game 23 for Ned Long. And there's George Wardlaw in the wars.
Geez, the Wardlaw tackle, it shows you how strong he is. Ned Long's not a small boy. Picked him up.
Lucky in a good spot. So Curtis runs hard for him. And he feeds onto it nicely. Will he keep going? He didn't want to take on Houston. This little drop step on Houston, and then kicked it into him. And Houston looked at Josh Dacos, and Cameron was the man who got it in the end. Lipinski, who came on as a sub last week, getting a full game this week, which is good news. Hardiman trying to chip it. McKercher, clever, spins out of a jam. Playing in front, Wainor had the IQ to be in the exact right spot. Good IQ on Sheasel there. It was caught behind him. And now Peck, the hero with the saving mark last week.
Played out in front of his man there, in front of Brody Myercheck. Right on the pressure upfield, but good positioning.
2 intercept marks in the last couple of transitions. That's a better return for North Melbourne. Being able to try and turn it over and go back inside themselves. Hold field position.
Luke Davies-Uniacke, 27 possessions in North's win last week over Richmond. Not the required. Daniel New. And was quick with the handball to Luke Davies-Uniacke. Smothered. Danger now. Sullivan on the feedback. Who wants to have the shot? Membry. He launches and needs a roll, a trickle, a tumble. And a stick. Crowd at their feet. Great crowd in. It is loud in here.
It's the one-arm backhand smother it was. There wasn't much of the arm to hit, but LDU went dead center. So that's some smothers early.
Well done again. Nick Dacos is the last guy you want to get into form. Long feeds it on. Sullivan. Membry. Might have a count. Look at too many out there.
That was a pass. He wasn't going for goal then. He was actually lowered the eyes and saw Tim Membry.
Yeah, Collingwood supporters saw that a goal. The previous play actually just clipped the post. No need to go to the slicko. Or was there? Or he just got it. The umpire was in perfect position, so the play went on. He was confident enough not to go to the replay. But there's been 3 smothers in the last 5 minutes by the Pies. This is why they're the #1 front half turnover team in the competition. So maximum pressure that gets smothers, get forward of the ball and score. It's the basis for their game.
It's always great when the guy who lays the smother is the one that gets rewarded with a score as well. It's not always the way it happens, but as we showed, those front half turnovers and then the scores from them, this is right across the ground, but they're number one for those front half turnovers and being able to score from them, which is two really powerful statistics to be in front of.
Cox in the ruck against Sherry. The restart. Parker, Simpkin. Nice movement, Powell. Down the spine, long, hoping for Maley. Wow, held that long enough. Surely. Gee, we're holding the wall these days. Josh Jacobs down the line. Coleman. Sullivan. Normally has some poise and has it again here. Davies Uniac. Stevens. She's flirting with danger, but it's working at the moment, although Hardiman's going to have to make sure he puts his heart and soul into that one.
They are a low mark team, North Melbourne, so...
Allen, beaten by Simpkin, turned him inside out. Chip kick is perfect. And Lucky, right on his range here. He's about 80% from inside 30. From this kind of range is more like 68, 70%, but he gets an early sighter here to see what he's got tonight. Nick Larkey likes to squeeze the ends, spins the ball 10 times normally, then the 6-step walk in and kick it at about 85%. And he did kick that at about 85%. Family downstairs.
Well, just a quick one down here, guys. Collingwood are a man short with Maynard going down underneath, and we're still trying to find out exactly what it was, but that was about 3 minutes into the game. That was about 6 or 7 minutes ago, so we're just trying to find out what it is, but they're a man down right now, Collingwood.
Right, and Elliott with the bruised buttock. Cox was pushed out of that, umpire let it roll. Elliott and Hoskin and Elliott looked at each other as if to try and say who's going. Sherry. Luke Davies Uniac caught, but got his hands free. O'Sullivan against the grain. Stevens had a bit of it early.
Is Maynard back out on the bench there beside
Yeah,
the
having a
coach?
big conversation with the coach about what's going on at the moment.
Coleman, gee, don't get a little kick that.
North are spreading really wide in their defensive half, trying to pull Collingwood's defence apart, look for these uncontested marks. They did it really well for the last connection with Larkey for shot on goal. It's a clear tactic. They look really organised.
Well, they've been averaging 57 marks the last 6 weeks. They're already up to 22 marks.
Do you think they can do this, Bucks, with Collingwood's pressure?
Well, the last sort of movement was an example of it working positively.
You've got to have a plan, don't you? You've got to believe in a plan, and Alistair Clarkson's given them one. Josh Dacos.
If they keep hitting the kicks, then there is no pressure. If they miss a kick, then that's when the pressure ramps up.
Josh Dacos coming off that 29 possession game in the win over Adelaide last week, the most for Collingwood. Plain There's a real bubble in the crowd. North Melbourne home game with plenty of Collingwood fans in the house. Pink is about to attack this. Let it get through to the end. Block. North Melbourne free. It's going to Coleman. Pulls the kick wide. Darling's going to have to go. Does, and holds it. He's in the square, calling for it long. Howe right with him. Darling might go for home. He pulls the kick late. And Big Mason read it to perfection. Jeremy Howe riding shotgun with him, telling him where to go. Heads out in exactly that direction. And McDonald thumps it out, does Luke McDonald, who's one of the father-sons in this North Melbourne team. His dad Donald. Yeah,
Yes.
Dad Donald coached Hawthorn before us. Clarkson took over.
That's right, he did too.
Became
coach.
The king of Hawthorn coaches in a way, modern days anyway. LDU back inside 50, through hands. Bailey had a piece of it.
They win the territory battle early in North Melbourne. They get inside 50, put Collingwood defence under pressure.
Big pack around it. Cox and Sherry, Parker, fend off. Perryman almost turned it back over again. High, wobble up McKercher. Howe just tried to kill it with a fist.
You were talking about field position, Brady. North Melbourne have turned the ball over in the middle of the ground 3 times. Collingwood just 2. So if you can possess the ball and get it through, well then that's a massive win. It's only been those 2 smothers that we've seen from Collingwood in that within 45 seconds of one another that Collingwood have actually turned over North Melbourne's offence.
Sherry took it out of the air, got the kick away, and that would be an absolute ripper if he gets it home. And he hits it home. Got a Sherry picking from Tristan Cherry.
He's had a fantastic season. He'd have to be in the All-Australian conversation with Ruckman. Going against Darcy Cameron today. Cameron's resting on the bench at the moment, so he's a good space in Cox, but that's as good as you'll see. He gets high number of clearances for a ruck, but he does it all himself this time, Bucks.
Oh, look, this is he's just a bull. We saw from the stats, like the hit-outs and hit-outs to advantage, he's right up there. So in the pure ruck elements, he's probably as good as Max Gawn, better than Darcy Cameron, but around the ground is where Darcy Cameron's excellent. So that was advantage Sherry, and he took full toll of it. To be able to win the ball out of that situation, be able to throw the ball on boot to finish, that's a great bonus for North Melbourne, and they've had a great promising start.
There's Damien Monkhurst's left foot, his ruck coach there, giving us some advice.
Probably not as strong as that one. He was hitting them well in the warm-up, put it that way.
He could play in his day, absolutely he could.
He's a great man.
Tristan Cherry leads the coaches, folks, leads the coaches award at the moment. He's having that good a season. Oh, that's a hard back slam tackle. Darling.
So I wouldn't mind seeing Wardlaw and Long just go head-to-head for half an hour. See who comes out.
Yeah. Oh, they'll still be, I reckon it'll go the distance.
Little 1-2, Perryman. Handball missed the target. McKercher read his eyes. Away from Sullivan. And a nice delivery as well.
Starting to do some really nice things, McKercher. You see his short speed, his decision making.
Daniel hits Parker with the kick. Long got there late. Gee, no final contact friend. No mark. North Melbourne fans not happy with that. Houston wide. So a couple of inclusions. Will Hayes is into the lineup, and this is Will Parker in for game 6. Parker slams it long. Hayes is inside 50. Big fisted core knocks it down. Lipinski got by Costandi taken out. So if you join us late, 2 late outs for Collingwood. Scott Penalty and Bobby Hill have already rested Still Sidebottom and got some injured players like Darcy Moore, Lockie Schultz, Jordan DeGoey and Dan McStay out. So it's an understrength Collingwood.
North have started really strongly in the contest, +8 at contested ball, +5 in clearances. So that's the first box that you need to tick if you're going to challenge Collingwood at any stage.
Yeah, small forwards are getting up to support Bucks. We've seen Curtis a few times in D50, Costandi that time to get down and lay a tackle.
Darling does ruck work again. Will Hoskin Elliott slung 360, got away with it. In the congestion, in the chaos. Knocked out Will Hoskin Elliott. Nick Dacos sidestep, the fling, light check, knocked out of a jam. That's what's through for there behind.
I thought Dacos was away there. He just snuck out of that 450 stoppage. Have a look at this footwork. Good follow up by Daniel. Good support there by the North Melbourne midfielders to get out of that stoppage.
Good pressure.
Yeah.
When you got 4 around, it was a 4v1. That was good work rate to get out of that stoppage and be around the ball.
High ball, Maley under it. Thumped away, Darling. Stayed down to Cromit. We've got to have that kick again. Long. Houston. Long. Parker. Plano. McCreary. Got Membry out wide. He goes longer. Elliott in the pocket. Caught didn't kill it. Stayed alive. My check for the miracle. So the other late change for Collingwood, Oleg Markov in as the sub. He wasn't even listed among the emergencies. And they had to spring those late changes. They brought in Oleg Markov. There he is. Just has to sit there and twirl the moustache whilst he's waiting to come on.
From a defensive perspective, as we work out whether there's no snicko on the boundary post, is there? But North Melbourne are actually, they're relying on their forwards, as you said, to get high Brownie. Their back six, they're not getting caught squeezing.
In these angles, there is insufficient evidence to determine if the ball hits the behind post or not. Decision on the scoreboard.
So I think that's going to go to the umpire's decision, which was a point. So they're not squeezing at the ball, so they're sitting back their back six, which means they can defend their D50 really well. Collingwood can't get them over the top, but then the midfield and the high forwards need to be able to put real pressure on the ball to be able to force a kick inside.
I'll be conscious of that because of Collingwood's turnover game bucks. We've seen that over the last few weeks. They can turn it over, get it straight over the opposition defence.
With the tactics and structures at the moment that North are implementing, you know, we're 15 minutes in, they're standing up. They're looking really good.
Sherry and Cox. Sherry beats him again. And beats him brilliantly. Got a kick away to Zerha, who nearly trapped it. Star of the show last week, Cam Zerha. LEU, not the second grab. Almost the pounce. Quaynor got there in time to stop the rock. Out to Maynard. Chips it wide. He's got Will Hoskin Elliott. Had Nick Dacos on the fly by, but ignored him. Now the umpire tells him to go, and he does hit Nick Dacos. The fans didn't think that was 15. These fans have got a pretty good understanding of measurement these days. Sheasel, McDonald, McKercher. In this up to their eyeballs at the moment, North. You waited for that, for the chest mark.
Frampton was fantastic then to read that.
Allen wide. McCreary pounces. The fumble will have worked in his favour. Who does he want? He sends it long. They can raffle it. Cox is there. They should have raffled it. 3 went at it. Cool. Spanks it wide. Bouncing ball. He needs a kind bounce so Stevens can get there. And he did. Brilliant. And he won it for too high.
Yeah, great play. Dan Houston was out there running protection, so he didn't have much option except to try and get a little back spinner just before the boundary.
No, I like
Do
it.
that on the golf course,
Yep.
play.
Wide towards Larky. Got up there, didn't mark it. Maley. Larky puts a speed on. Not too wide for Parker. Still good enough to make something of it. Blasts it to the hot spot. Sinking. Curtis off the deck. Anyway.
He's down there for ages. He's spun out Curtis. Unfortunately for him, Darcy Cameron came across in front, so he's North Melbourne 2 was reluctant to kick it into the 1-on-1.
Finbar Maley involved in that. You think about, all right, what's made the difference for North in the last month? I think they've just, that extra marking target who's really competitive in the air has really helped them along. Curtis with a near miss there.
By circling the ball up. There is Paul Curtis back in after the suspension. 3 games for rough conduct. Game 67. Collingwood free.
Curtis was clearly North Melbourne's best performer in that first 6 or 7 rounds before going out. As I said earlier, he's come back into a side that's a little more structured, playing better footy than the one he left.
Elliott used his body and Cox put it to grass. Sullivan has that for a little hesitation step.
Started well, Sullivan.
Got everyone off balance. Went to Parker, hit that wide. Zerha's got a couple of beats Quaynor. No, he didn't beat Quaynor. Umpire said he didn't hold them up.
Story down here at the moment, Dwayne, is Maynard off again in the hands with the doctors. Looks a little distressed at the minute, so interesting to see if he comes back on.
He doesn't miss many games either. Braden Maynard's pretty durable for a crash and bash kind of player. Missed one game only this year and played every game last year. He is pretty durable. So I won't check with this up just yet, you wouldn't think.
He started well. A couple of times there, just out in front of the mile check, reading the play. Did a good job last week as well.
You feel the belief growing amongst the North Melbourne players. They should have the belief. They were 54 points up against Collingwood in this corresponding game here last year.
They would have come in with a very similar strategy. If you can get 10 goals or 9 goals in front of a good opposition with certain tactics, you're probably going to go back to the well. The challenge is to do it for 4 quarters.
Larky in the middle of that. Mainly got there late, competed. Constanti played her off the deck. Josh Dacos. Nick. Cameron. Nick gets it towards Mason Cox. Coleman had front spot, did well. Hardeman. There's that big leap again. Didn't pull it down again though, Marley. Simkin the crumb. Opens it up towards her. Not quite. Curtis gets it. He turned the ball inside out. Cut off last line by Frampton.
Subs being made down here as we speak. Maynard off, Markov coming on. We're not to find out what it is, but big news.
That is huge. Captain the team last week as well. Braden Maynard. So toward the boundary, didn't quite slap it really enough. Lipinski. Line check. Sullivan about to get caught. Powell wrapped him up. You'd think that's ball.
Even when Sullivan had possession of it, the next 5 plays of the contest were not wrong. Which is so good if he gets out, but it's great if you can stop him there and then.
Set up well behind the ball as well. North Melbourne not getting sucked up on the setbacks.
This time.
Cherry streaming forward here off ball.
Cameron did well. That's a reach on Simpson who thought he'd used his body well enough.
Sets him well up, sets himself up really well behind the play. A kick down the line. Got to be conscious of that North Melbourne players.
Good call, Bucks, because if he dropped that, his man was kicking the goal.
He's the number 1 intercept marker for rugby.
Houston, Howe. Heads to Mason Cox, who's got the reach. Coleman took the arm. Elliott plays on to advantage. Heads goalward. It's across the face, but might check. Might get a front on contact free.
Jeez, might have had a couple of those go great. Those front on contact.
It's all right, Brownie, one apiece.
They won a pace. First one might have been against Pink as well, so it's a square up.
Good sign for North is it's hard for Collingwood to move the ball. Even when they do it efficiently or effectively, it looks like it's marginal. It looks like it could get turned over, which is a great sign.
Larky did brilliantly there. Held him out. Went for the 50. Was able to milk it.
I like it when they allow him to release up the field, not get chained to the goal square. I think it just helps their structure when he's a contested marking player on the wing as well, and trust other forwards to do the work inside forward 50 when he's out.
Don't want to blaze it long, obviously.
Clear change, 32nd uncontested mark for North Melbourne this first quarter.
Ow. He does blast it long. Bailey gets up there, ball comes to the back to Cameron. On 2 with Josh Dacos. Houston. Howard as he got his kick away. Pressurised kick. Huge ball to win. Perryman LDU. Boundary umpire will sort it out. It's been a really good opening term.
Yeah, we're looking at the numbers. So +8 contested ball, +18 uncontested marks. As you said, Brownie is Curtis, who has got a solid body. When you get hit, you get hit. But still, Collingwood are up by 2 points. So they've done a lot right, North. They're in the contest.
They're already down, having to jump with their sub, Collingwood, after having a couple of extra late withdrawals before the game. So things are playing out nicely for North in a way. From the scramble, she's squeezed it. Curtis got it. Umpire said no, he didn't get it.
So she's there, so he's playing more as a forward now.
Yeah.
Like I spoke about during the week, he played as a forward going up in the midfield last week. That role will continue.
Long. Good Lord. Just barrels his way through a couple. He's a bull.
It's great to watch.
Larky goes down off the ball in the goal square. Umpire says nothing in it. McKercher, Sheasel, Howe, Wardlaw. Simon gets it from Sheasel. Sends it long. Maley's down there. Curtis is down there. Frampton's down there. You can't beat Billy. Great job in the grand final win over the Lions. Defensive forward on Harris Andrews. He's holding up again this year. Wide ball. Membry got there late. Collects. Ducked into that long and ducked out of it. My check direction. Can he get there to make a contest? He does. To Membry. Gets on the spill. My check on the run. McCreary with some poise. Delicate little chip. Lace out with a ribbon wrapped around it. Go ahead.
He's been fantastic by McCreary. He was up involved in that halfback contest. Lays the tackle. Gets back. Delivers inside 50 with a beautiful
He's
blast.
worked right up and down this green ground. He's been outstanding, hasn't he?
Fantastic. And a good kick there. Just waited for Elliott to come back at him. Love that as a forward.
Alpha siren. Ultra reliable in that circumstance. Jamie Elliott, what are you thinking for your life? And Collingwood get the goal to finish the quarter strong. 17th place 9. It's first versus 17th, but it feels a lot closer than that at quarter time.
All right, folks. Hey, welcome in. What a quarter. I tell you what. Only 9-11. No, Jamie Elliott kicked a goal. Usually this highlights up for the goal scorer. I'm not sure why it hasn't done that yet. Maybe just the app that hasn't put that up. 9-17 it is. 2-5. 17 the Magpies leading North Melbourne. 1-3-9. I tell you what, they did. Why I can't see. I don't know. Why can't you see? Why can't you see it? Why can't you see it? You should be able to get KO on the phone. I've played KO on the phone before. It just depends. If you've got it at home, you just got to nominate, I think, where you want it. But you should be able to. You should be able to get it. You should be able to get it. It should be on the phone, all right. So no worries about that. Just changed now. Oh, okay. I was a little bit lagging there. Twisted my knee. I have a support. Oh my gosh, Paul. You're in the wars, brother. You're in the wars. You're in the wars. Thank goodness for this. Thanks, Philip. Yeah, I tell you what, I know what you mean. I remember back in the day a little bit, we used to get most of the footy games on free-to-air TV. And then, of course, some of the pay TV came in, took over some of the games. And, of course, all the footy rights and all that sort of went out the window. So we don't get many games free-to-air now, which is really unfortunate. And that's one of the reasons I got KO. And of course, I like KO so I can do these sort of lives. And it's just unfortunate I can't show the vision or it's due to copyright and YouTube would just shut me down as soon as I blink. I tried that once and that's exactly what they did. So at least I can do this and I can put the commentary of KO on. I think that's better than the commentary of the radio stations. And then I can come in and then I can come and say hello to everyone in the chat as well. Of course, say good day to Philip and Mark there and Tina, the manager's in the house. Wet Hog Fishing Adventures. Yeah, I can understand that. No good if you got KO when it's loading for a quarter. That would just drive me insane. Hey, Ned, how you doing? Welcome in. Blue Mountains, Australia. How you doing? Mark Lancaster, welcome in. Dylan Miles, Fuzzy Mullet. There we go. That's a cool name. So, Ella Rose, and of course everyone else that came in earlier. Hey, let's just go and have a look at the goal scorers, will we? Let's go and have a look at a couple of these stats. The goal scorers, not many goals. She's a tight old game. North Melbourne are actually playing reasonably good football here. I know you were saying in the chats, making the Pies look bad, but I think just some of the, we at one stage there, Bo McCreary put it into pretty much just in front of the top of the square, and 3 Collingwood players went up for it. They could have raffled it, but they spoiled each other, so they just got to be a little bit more aware of the presence of the players beside them. But that being said, North Melbourne played well. They got good belief after the last few weeks of footy they've been playing. But Collingwood Collingwood's well undermanned tonight. They got a lot of good players outside bottom and Pendlebury and you name it, they're out. But still, quality players out there playing. Tristan Xerri is the only goal scorer there for North Melbourne. Tim Membry, Jamie Elliott are the goal scorers there for the Magpies. I think Tim Membry was the first goal scorer of the game today. Isaac Quainer, can you believe it? You wouldn't read about it, would you, in the Sunday Herald Sun? Isaac Quainer, Ned Long, lead topping the table on 9 disposals. There you go. Josh Dacos also on 9 disposals. For the Magpies, usually see his brother Nick up there. Riley Hardman also on 9 there for the Kangaroos. 9 disposals, 9 kicks, 6 marks. My gosh, there we go. All right, let's just troll down a bit. Harry Sneasel. They're definitely wanting a big game from him, and of course Caleb Daniel there from the Kangaroos, 8 and 7. Nick Dacos, if you're asking, well, how's he been going? He's had 7. A little bit of a slow first opening term for him. 2 kicks, 5 handballs, a mark, and a couple of tackles for the superstar there. Let's just roll on down. Harry Perryman, 5 touches. Luke Parker, he's been playing a great season so far for the Kangas. He's had 5 touches, 3 kicks, 2 handballs. Let's just quickly go down because I'll be back to the commentators. We'll get back down to the ground because I'll be bouncing the ball for the second quarter in a moment. Jamie Elliott, he's had 4 touches, 3 kicks, a handball. He's kicked a sausage roll. He's had 1 clearance as well. George Wardlaw, I tell you what, he needs to produce. He's a star quality player for North Melbourne. 3 touches only in that opening turn, 2 kicks and a handball. Should be pretty good. Braden Maynard, just the 2 touches. Lipinski, just the 2. Wanting him to get into the game as well. Jack Darling, of course, and Cam Zurhaar, a little bit quiet for the Kangas. Just 2 kicks for Darling and Zurhaar, just the 1. Neither have scored at the moment. How are the 2 Will boys going? Will who? Will Hoskin. Will Hoskin Elliott. Will Hoskin Elliott's had 4 touches, 1 kick, 3 handballs, and a mark. Who's the other Will? Now, let me just roll up. Who's the other Will? Will. I see 1 Will. Do I see another? Will Parker. 3 possessions, 2 kicks, 1 handball, 1 mark. I think they were the only 2. That's the one you're talking about. You grew up on free-to-wear football, Philip. Yeah, I know. Me too. It was fantastic. Hey, that's enough of me for now, folks. So let's get back to the footy action. That's the Magpies by 8 points.
We'll have to tip into that as the game progresses.
Second term underway. Cameron and Sherry, 2 contenders. That number 1 ruck spot continue to go at it. St Killian's are free. Donald quick off the back of the square. Sherry trying to feed that through the eye of the nettle. Unsuccessful. Ball up. Sherry front spot in that ruck contest. Big pack around it. LDU fished it out. Daniel after getting it from Simpkin. It's a good battle at the moment.
It is good battle for Evans at his moments as well. Very good in the first quarter. Caleb Daniel getting really dangerous off the back of stoppages, Bucks. I've seen it often in his time with the Bulldogs, but definitely in that role tonight.
He loves that player as a sweeper off the back of stoppages where he can face the game and use the ball well.
And almost 100% from this spot, so you can just about put this in the book. Wolf get there second.
He's gone past Clutter, hasn't he? He's the most accurate.
Well, from inside 30, he's right up there with the all-time greats, kicking at 80% from inside 30. We saw him miss a shot from about 45 in the opening term. Missed everything, so it doesn't count against his numbers. So his numbers right now this season are 24 goals, 10, but it doesn't count those ones that drift away or drop short.
Surely that wasn't deliberate to keep his numbers.
No.
So it's like batting for the ready.
Plugger wouldn't have been short from 45, would he?
He definitely did with that Perling final in 96. Sorry to the Essendon supporters out there. Nick Larkey, a fantastic player, Australian a couple of years ago. Good battle with Billy Frampton.
2 goals straight last week against Richmond as well. Nick Larkey. Cherry. That was a beautiful reach and palm. Didn't get the clearance. Dacos long. Josh Dacos feeds it on, hoping for Perryman. Half dragged down, no, fully dragged down according to the umpire. I don't quite agree. Not required. Josh Dacos was placed to his favour on the move, and he tried to hit the target, Will Hayes. Kick around the body, he's okay. It's got there. Can you believe that? Tricky shot.
Good shot of two-way lead on the goal line. Right on by Hayes. Read the play quickly, anticipated that kick coming inside 50.
He's not there for his marking prowess, but he was able to just get just in front there, just to compete. Luke McDonald might have had an intercept mark otherwise, and that's a great goal sense. Sullivan had no idea where the goals were in that regard, but knew exactly where he needed to put the ball. So that's a great finish as a goal sneak forward. Interestingly enough, Collingwood scored 8 times from 11 inside. So if there's one area that North Melbourne need to tighten up on, it's when Collingwood gets the play. And you should expect that they're going to get 45 to 50. If they score at that rate, North aren't going to be able to score enough to win.
Collingwood back out by 8 points as they were at quarter time. Simpkin flings it away. Josh Dacos attacked it. Sheezel went and got it. Heads in the Larky direction. 2 hands on it, but a good punch away by Frampton. McKercher. Zerha bangs it to the hot spot. A little turn in his favour. It's almost got there. That is not. It is. It's the freakiest bounce we've seen for a long, long time.
I'm not sure who the spinner for the Melbourne Renegades is. Hot, but they'd be happy with that sort of turn.
It's always better to be lucky than to be good, isn't it? And you'll take him when you get him, and he's got to win the contest first. He's got to put it in the air. It's a beautiful leggy.
What was
Jack Darling?
What was Darling trying to do?
What's Jack Darling already on the line?
Clearly he thought it was touched somewhere along the line.
He's got competition.
Yeah, has to get more. Kicked 3 last time, they went 4 last week. But that's dangerous tonight.
That was the first goal from turnover. So they've been able to. They kicked 2 goals from stoppage before then. That was the first that they were able to get from a throw-in. So there's 3 goals now from attacking mid-stoppages, which North Melbourne would be buoyed by because they're getting field position at the moment. So the more of those, the better.
Hey, good news down here, guys, with Georgie Wardlaw. He's just got his lip glued, Brownie, so he should be back on soon.
Well, better than getting stapled.
Not together though, mate.
No.
There's a few that kind of like that. They did have that option.
I think Georgie's like that. He's pretty quiet.
O'Sullivan. The shrug. He's got some steps. Back to Pink. Powell.
Simpkin in the middle.
And gets him. Powell alive and well north in this. Parker gets it from Daniel. Luke Davies Jr. getting plenty of it. Curtis screaming for it in the pocket. He goes wide. And Kircher. And he pulls the kick late. Delightful. So they are just trying to pick their way through them and make sure they don't just bomb it long, even though no Darcy Moore, etc. down there. Just hold possession and Constanti and give them the lead.
That was a clever quick kick to aim on the outside of the boot, I reckon. And he wrong-footed the Collingwood defenders.
He looked like he was going to go long, didn't he, Brown?
He did, yeah.
Beautiful drop the ball.
He shushed the Carlton fans here Good Friday when North were 10 goals down and he kicked the goal. So he celebrates this one. It's across the face. Behind.
I thought that the instructive kick there was Luke Parker's through the middle. I had a chance to go inside 50, lowered his eyes, hit LDU. That's the one that opens up the game for you because the Collingwood defenders are running away from goal. They can't see where they need to defend, which gave McKercher the opportunity to pick the hole.
Allen, my chicken cord got the ride. Daniel. Hardeman was there. The umpire says insufficient intent. He was a long way away. The umpire. Hardeman was in the vicinity.
Hayes.
Will Hayes thought he was going to get a possession. I said no, young man.
Can't blame him for that though, Dwayne.
Wearing Heath Shaw's old number 39, if you like. Famous Collingwood number 39.
Unlucky to make the tackle.
Is he a rat packer as well?
From the spill, McDonald got his arms free, and is that enough to be ball? Pink smacks it away. Curtis from 3 to be Wardlaw, for all money, you thought was going to take the mark. This is a good game.
Curtis had 3 half chances and dropped a chesty in the first quarter, so he's in the match.
It's almost better having come off the rest. Callum Daniel trying to work his fine balls, and Curtis has done it again. Wasn't required. Umpire said play on. He didn't start playing footy until he was 14 years of age. Paul Curtis. He's really learnt the game in a hurry, and here is the debutant, Will Hayes. Hit 56 last year, just turned 19 from Subiaco. Elliott crashed it down. Cherry, Simpkin, straight through Markov. So the sub out there, but a little rusty. Hasn't played a lot of footy lately. Houston long. Not quite well, Husky Elliott. And Sullivan's getting plenty of it. He normally uses it well. Wardlaw out wide. Miley. Crowds in full voice. Plenty of North Melbourne fans in the house, their home game. And the Collingwood fans don't. This one's up for grabs. And Sullivan again. Pink again.
He kicks it 100% for no Sullivan.
Now to Darling. You've got a conflict of interest with Finn O'Sullivan, haven't you, Brim?
So, Bucks, you get Collingwood, do you keep folding back or do you start coming up and stop these marks?
Oh, it's a real question, Moons. It's and if it persists into half time, it's a definite tactical point that they need to hit. They probably, in my mind, need to press up harder to take away the first uncontested mark, because the second and the third are a bit harder to stop than the first one.
Gus Cameron felled off the ball. You related to Phil O'Sullivan, Brown? You
Well, my sister's his auntie.
right? Well, that would make you. Wide ball towards the boundary. And the umpire says throw it in.
Settling down nicely at half-back, starting his career as a wingman. By draft pick, so very exciting for the O'Sullivan family back home.
He looks quality. Pick 2 in last year's draft. Finn O'Sullivan playing game 10. Sherry didn't win it to his own teammate, Filipinski. Hams it towards the wing. Mychek tried to pick it and run back. Wardlaw couldn't find the handle. Goes back in, found it. McDonald. Long. O'Sullivan wrapped in. Wardlaw fighting the fight. He's happy to get dirty, George Wardlaw.
And Collingwood are up by a point, but they're down 14 contested ball. North Melbourne are imposing their game style. Need a few more staples for that.
Better glue his lips. Better go get the heavy duty stuff, man.
Remember Juddy way back when? He ended up coming out like Voldemort. That's right.
Well, they nicknamed him Gorgeous George, haven't they? Hopefully, there won't be too much scarring for Gorgeous. George Wardlaw coming off their pick 4 in 2022.
Plenty of supporters the way he goes about it, Brian.
Simpkin playing a good captain's game at the moment. Daniel, the sizzler, Curtis, the boundary line was his friend. Didn't roll out. Lipinski, 1-2 of Nick, and now Josh. The day guy, good line. Chris, back to Josh. Little chipper, couldn't quite find memory. McCreary off hands, opens it up. Will Hoskin Elliott, long, the overlap's on Elliott from 10.
Chris, we've just probably thought his way through that. North Melbourne players converging upon him. Just took a step, looked up. So before the right tail, McCreary's been busy as well, but I've seen that go again.
Yeah, he's been excellent. He's in the top 5 ranked players in the competition and looked really dangerous in most of Collingwood's scoring plays. They haven't got on the outside that often. North have balanced. Their uncontested possession with their contested possession in a contest, and they've actually defended Collingwood relatively well across the ground. But once again, when Collingwood get inside forward 50, they're able to score. That's 9 from 14. So they are putting all their bickies into at-ball pressure North when Collingwood have got it, which opens them up a little bit out the back. But Collingwood is so good at moving the ball to advantage.
Treatment continues for George Gordon on the treatment. Continues in the ruck. Sherry. Curtis. Constanti. He needs a trickler. He needs the ball to go home. And he sent it home.
It's a spinning deck down the right hand end. We saw Zerhaus about 5 minutes ago. That one turned again for Costanti. He's been busy as well, so he spoke about Curtis a lot tonight. And Bo McCreary up the other end of his work, right? Good effort there by Cherry. Just jumped out of the way of Cox, who tried to jump over the top of him. So there, good tap on there by Curtis involved again. And nicely, just turned nicely. Good tap there by Curtis. Centre bounce goal.
Cherry's having a huge game. He's had 9 contested possessions, 11 hit-outs, 4 to advantage, 5 clearances. He's kicked that goal out of the forward 50 stoppages that we saw. He's a leading rated player on the field. So Darcy Kemp and Mason Cox have been there for a lot. Both of them need to stand up.
Sherry's done it again. He's beating both of them. The coach is flying. Not gone there. That's a strange decision. A non-decision from the umpire, that. Parker. And that'll rub it in.
How's everyone hold the ball?
I'm not sure, Brownie, but it's something that we can get stuck on occasionally if you let it worry you, the consistency. And just get on with it, Sullivan.
So you're telling me to move on to it?
Oh, no. I might. Sullivan long, off hands. Cool. Had it, lost it, dropped it. Crowd's not letting it go though, Brownie. They're in full force. They're riding the umpires as hard as they've ever ridden us. Been happening for 100 years. Old ladies with umbrellas in the old days. Over the boundary, let them know. LDU. Only just held up in the end. He waited. Larky went and got. Lipinski got him. And he dropped it. McCreary out wide. Frampton. A rare 4A forward. Heads towards my check. 2 to beat. Stars over heads.
Cherry just having a quick spell. Jack Darling into the ruck now. You'll roll for him. He didn't do much of that at West Coast.
The ruck roll's changed a little bit, especially when you've got to run around so much. Probably don't have a second ruck as often. You need your key forward to go and do that. Tom Hawkins made a living out of it.
That's true. Snapped out the Brandon direction. It was going high. And players on the correct side to be able to pay that.
Well, contributed to his living. He's good at a lot of things.
Yes,
The 450 ruck week was one of them.
So Perryman could have got here early and watched his old team win earlier today. It's a double header here at Marvel Stadium today. Earlier on, Carlton and the Giants.
He might have been here, Blake.
He might have did a great job, the staff here, to get the ground up and ready for the second game of this Super Saturday night combo from Marvel. And that's not a super short goal.
Ran into a couple along the way and they had half an hour to clear the change rooms for the new game. Busy day, quick in and out.
Right ball. Stevens.
The rent's cheap here.
You get to set the second game if you stay early, if you hide in the toilets. Powell. Caught. Dragged down.
I guarantee you there's one or two that have done that.
Some strange things happened here. Just trying to work out when the unnaming of the ends ever happened here. It was the Coventry and Lockett ends for such a long time, and I sort of unnamed them. Not sure whatever happened there. Ball towards Josh Dacos. Got it out to Lipinski. Wrapped up by LDU, going nowhere. Edge of the seat staff, and most of the seats are full. Darling was good until it wasn't.
Very much watching Tristan Cherry. Made it look easy, just grab it out of the rocks.
Peak having a rest, Josh Simpkin with him. You see Tristan Sherry under the lid. Mark off. Late in. Pendlebury and Bobby Hill laid outs. Nick Dacos gets a boot. And that'll make him feel okay. He found Darcy Cameron with a bullet. You can do him all you like, but
Just come back on.
still rise.
He just come back on there. Cherry's sitting on the bench, so he would have made the most of that Darcy Cameron. Just floats into space, knowing his man's not out there.
It's interesting, like
Like Darling, not sure who is in the ruck at this stage.
and when you key matchups off, it probably you're not as opponent aware, which you can potentially be a little bit more attacking about.
You've got the best seat in the house on Fox Footy for this one. He bends it back. Not quite. 3-4. A behind. Collingwood used pick 54 to get Darcy Cameron. They say he's got the best bang for buck rucks in the comp, given what they're paying him, but that's going to change in a hurry. He's going to get a monster deal this next one, you'd think. Sheasley back to McCurchin. Leave under some heat. Mason Cox.
That's the first sign of a little bit more of a press.
So they're moving up to try and put some pressure on that kick mark down. They'll pick Nathan Buckley with us. Coleman. Back to McCurcher. Back to Sheasley. So Shields is up around the ball a bit more at the moment as well. Parker. Stevens. Through the hands of McCurcher. Pocket kick. Allen. And now they run in a big way. Will Hayes. Hunted down by George.
Yeah, it's just the clock in the head. First game up. Good chase there by George Waldo. Just come back on the ground. They've gone down to Bunnings and got the Tarzan grip. Just put his nose back together.
What a bad favourite he's turned into, hasn't he?
Yeah, that's the Will Hayes wake-up moment. Every young player has it. That's the difference between VFL and senior footy.
Miley becoming a bit of a cult hero as well. And Finbar.
I guess this is what we're talking about, Bucks. Is chip mark. Are North Melbourne good enough to do it for 4 quarters?
Sherry got hands on it. Parker at the front. His arms free. Back to Finbar, little fumble. That was all it took. Hayes again. Perryman. Sullivan. Not what he used to. Now knew exactly what he was doing with it. Long walk by Hardeman. Huge right by Curtis in the pocket. Come up by Frampton. Just can't get past Big Billy at the moment. He's been good.
It was really well read there because Curtis was over the top. Curtis and Louisville went over the top there, and Frampton just played in between. But he's got the great height that he could reach up and stop it. So he left Nick Larky, which was courageous, but he had to do it to force a decision.
Sheasley. He couldn't from there, could he? He can't. It's across the face, but it's kind of a win for North. Keep it in their area.
Busy Harry Sheasley.
Knight was out at the full there. He's having a chat about
Well, how's convinced to hit the point post in the full?
okay, so they will chat about it. Now, guys, at the card table out. Discussion. Howe bangs it. Comben. Flick to the back. O'Sullivan. Had the poise again. Sheasley. Outside of the boot kick to Finn. That is a phenomenal kick.
Just we've seen some young players make some really good decisions. Happy McCurcher with the inside out of the boot, and very similar with that kick from Sheasley. It wasn't laced out, it wasn't hit perfectly, but it was hit really well. Frampton just switched off there for a minute between Zerha and Maley. This is the challenge for the big Irishman. He's been able to mark and compete so well. Just got to reward himself.
And he struts. Time clock in his head, no doubt. And that's the floor in his game.
He'll get there. I really like his attitude. He's so competitive, so combative. He's made a big difference.
Good scramble. Maley again, feeds it up. Parker, he can put that in the book. No! Wow! Of all people to miss it. To give North the lead. Luke Parker.
It's a good game of footy.
It is a ripper game of footy. Josh Jacobs out wide. Houston. Again, Collingwood's already jumped with their sub. So in some ways they're kind of a man down. Pink, LDU, shrugs, put his arms free. Chris. Oh, gee, that's a hard back of the head contact to Corbin. Maybe got away with it. High check. Big Mason, goal square. Hardiman got back. Went to 2-on-2, brilliant.
Spudley went proud of that. A good old-fashioned ear massage.
That was an old-fashioned money crowd.
That was a clapping. Harris Andrews had one today as well.
Did you know that Finbar Marley is an Irish?
No, I knew that. The rest was corrected. In fact, his father was born in the US.
Eltham.
That's right. So his father was born in the US. So he's got a bit of overseas.
What's his excuse for this? They love the kickstart.
I miss that kid.
He's the mailman from Los Alamos.
Stop. Maley's a great Irish name. Maybe it's
Definitely an Irish.
one or two generations back, he definitely is.
That's great.
Just wondering who had the courage to
Three
correct
never
him.
get a match on couch Monday
I'm not
night.
sure either. That should be an ugly brand.
Stevens to the pocket. That's a brilliant movement. And now Simpkin. So this kick to give North Melbourne the lead. They did kick the opening behind of the game, so they did lead early, but this game is hovered between Collingwood's 8-point lead and the margin we might be about to get.
It's a big quarter.
Never made the All-Australian squad of 40, Josh Simpkin. Captain doesn't have to be the best player, but it's good of he is occasionally, and he has been brilliant tonight. Josh Simpkin.
Oh, brilliant. That's what I want from the captain. Well led. Goes back and kicks it. Takes his time. Been a great game of football. North Melbourne just keep at it.
And look at the spirit. All the North boys get around each other. Like they've come in with a plan. They've executed really well. Yeah, that's their first time in front, basically. Like Collingwood have just had their noses ahead across that time. And once again, being able to have time and space, move the ball, shift the Collingwood defence, look for the hole in the forward 50, and they've been able to hit. But this is the thing that I love about it.
For his man.
Brett Mark, who passed away. But then everyone got around him. Like that emotional connection is so important, and the personal connection for Jai Simpkin brings the personal and the team connection for his teammates. You know, love to see that spirit.
Had a rough year last year with the concussion. Jimmy Webster got 7 weeks for, but these two guys are leading well. LDU, Jai Simpkin, LDU out of the middle. High IQ this time. Isaac Quaney gets up and takes the mark. This is a really good contest. 4 minutes to half time. Big crowd. 48,000 expected. And it's living up to the expectation. A little nudge. Line checks Hertha. Will he be able to take his kick? Toby Pink nudged him into the contest, gave the free away. And the awkward landing. So Maynard already out of the game.
He doesn't stay down. Checkers, so it must be so.
Cherry got there, good hands. Collingwood led by 8 points at quarter time. Hardiman. Good inclusion. It's wide. McDonald.
He's up to 13 touches now. Riley Hardiman.
Yeah, he's a possession machine in juniors. Ball blasted towards the wing. Frampton again.
I think he's going, Billy Frampton. Not like he's kicked a goal earlier in this quarter, but he's read the play well, put himself in really good positions, knows when to leave Larky, knows when to stay with him.
It's Hardiman again to make a contest toward the boundary. It'll be Comben lending a hand, the great ball of Comben. Cam Mooney downstairs.
Yeah, well, obviously my check's just gone down into the rooms, guys, to get checked on that heavy landing. Looked like a big landing on either his knees or a little bit corky through his thigh as well. So we'll check on that one.
Sherry knocks it down to Davis-Uniacke. Sheasel lending a hand behind the ball. Powell feeds it further on. Simpkin against the grain. Back to McDonald. Owen home. Chris has to go and get it. Chris Chip.
Playing his wing roll to perfection there, Jack Crisp. Held his width. North went straight out to him.
Well, Stevens was his direct opponent. Stevens was usually receiving that lateral ball. At that time, it went 45 to the Collingwood opponent. Collingwood have only had 5 front half turnovers. We looked at it before the game, they averaged 12. So they just haven't been able to impose the game that they've relied on this year on North.
Yeah, number one front half turnover team in the comp.
Long. Will Hoskin-Elliott got the kick away but missed.
4-9 doesn't help for Collingwood.
That's right.
But I think the scoreboard is probably a bit flattering and towards Collingwood than it is to North. To be honest, they probably deserve to be a couple of goals up North.
Daniel White to Coleman, inside to Powell. North have the bye next week, so they'll leave nothing in the tank tonight. Sheasel. Powell.
It's over 60 uncontested marks now.
Coleman. Think. And now Darling the target. It's in a good spot. Good hands. That's what they recruited him for. Well, Nick Larkey be that extra guy. He's the leader. Game 309 for Jack Darling. Came into this game with 11 goals, 5 for the year. Hence that Sherry Cameron battle. Larkey to Crumb. Bangs it to Paul Curtis, 1-on-1. Curtis! And the crowd rise with it.
There's been a lot of talk about this man's bench press. He absolutely bench pressed him then, didn't he, Brownie?
I love that. Old-fashioned bench press, Bucks. Just bang. He's a little man, but he packs a punch.
This for the biggest margin of the game for either side. 9-point lead to North.
Just a couple of contested efforts along the wing here. Jack Darling first, and then Darcy Cameron almost with the mark here. Sherry was able to compete and contest enough to get it to ground. Like he just throws in the boot and legitimate 1v1. Curtis had to sit, but able to move Craner out from underneath the ball. Wasn't able to stabilise well enough to hold his position. And geez, that is strong. Learns it was an excellent bit of play.
Well, there's a little bit of talk going around. He's bench pressing 150 plus, I think, and I could be wrong on that, so someone will get to us with the exact number, but he's a huge, strong young man.
He's been dangerous in the first half. He's had 3 weeks off to have a look. He would have been frustrated as all get up, but come out and having an influence straight away.
Umpire lets that bounce roll. Daniel got a kick away, but it's a trickler. Cameron went down low, got up to Perryman, squeezed the kick to half forward, but Donald solid. What do they want to do with these remaining seconds? He hits right to Wardlaw. Good to grass. Mark off Perryman. Feeds it further on. Lipinski, the boundary line battle. Lipinski wins. Heads to Elliott. Now, he is the after the siren specialist, so kick one after the siren to end the opening term. He's going to have a shot to do the same to end this one. And as I mentioned, he'd be the guy you'd choose first to kick a goal for your life. Maybe not for your lunch. It's a big occasion normally.
One kicking for your life from there.
Yeah. to win a game. It's going to go to the barrel.
I was thinking about the left to right at the end of the barrel.
Has a bit of a laugh to go with it. Half time. And this one's living up to the expectation. North by 9 points. 6-6. More accurate scoreline. And Collingwood's 4-9. 33. Collingwood began the day top. They'll lose top spot if they lose this one. North Melbourne began the day 17th, but they can jump if they can beat the Magpies here tonight as part of our Super Saturday night on Fox Footy as the Doug Nichols round continues, and Jai Simpkin, one of those that's been lighting it up. North Melbourne in their Indigenous jumpers heading to half-time as we head downstairs to Cam Mooney.
Well, Jack, clearly knew this was going to be a very good game. They're going to come at you very hard. What are you seeing at the moment?
They're really good in the contest, actually, which we knew they were going to be. They're pretty quick to get back to the loose ball. But I think, yeah, when we do win it, we'll maybe use our numbers and try and lock down for half a bit more. Yeah, we're going fast and turnover.
70 marks for a half for North Melbourne. What do you do out there in the second half?
Yeah, we're just going to come forward as a defence. I think we're sitting back on the heels too much. We're not kicking onto a contest at all. They're just trying to chip through us, find easy marks, and then yeah, they can go forward with that. So we should make sure we come forward as a team.
Right, Jack, thanks, mate. Good luck second half.
Half-time here at Marvel Stadium. If you love your Formula One, you're probably going to tell me that all F1 races are must-watches, but Monaco, arguably the biggest of the big. I love this.
All right, folks, there we go. It is half time. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? North Melbourne leading the way. 6-6-42. The Magpies kicking not accurate. 4-9-33. Wowee, North Melbourne. 9-point leaders at half time. That's the biggest margin in the game so far. North Melbourne have just played, well, like they've been playing the last couple of weeks. They're playing with their belief. They're playing with a lot of spirit, a lot of dash, a lot of pressure. They're playing good. As I said in the chat, can they do it for 4 quarters? That's a whole different story. 4 quarters of this, playing at your peak. Well, I don't know if they can do it. The Magpies, they just seem to be labouring at the moment. The decisions, as I said, not overly brilliant. What they're doing at the moment, they've got to start and put a little bit more pressure on North Melbourne as well. So it's a good time, half-time come. And, of course, Craig McCraw, get in there and give them a what to for at half-time and say, listen, boys, we need to get back to our structure, our plans. Let's play our brand of football. And that's what I expect to see in the second half. That's what I'm hoping to see. That's what a lot of us are hoping to see. Even Adrian Sports Channel's cheering on the Pies. I'll come back when the Pies are in front. Good on Paul. It's way cooking food in this. I know what's going on. Can you believe it? They're just, well, yeah. Look, I know they've got a few of their stars out, their decision makers out, but as a few players, they need to lift. As a whole, they need to put a bit of pressure on. As Crispy said, they might be hanging back a little bit far the defence. They need to bring them up as well. Not let North Melbourne get that easy chip around. Of course, you do that. And North Melbourne's belief just keeps on growing. So we've got to shut that down. North seems to be making some sides second guess their process. Exactly. I know, and I think that's one thing that you got to do. You got to try and shut North Melbourne down. You got to bring your game. You got to put the pressure on them, and you got to stop that belief and get on top. Once I think you get on top of North Melbourne, maybe they might relax with their pressure, etc., like that throughout the game. So. Adrian supporting the Pies? Nah. Well, occasionally he does. Occasionally, Eddie G, occasionally you do. Don't worry about that. Occasionally he does. Who are we playing? North Melbourne. Well, I suppose anyone in the top 8 would be going for North Melbourne. So the Pies don't get that extra game clear. And the Brisbane supporters will definitely be wanting North to win. So Brisbane can stay on top of the ladder. Oh, I tell you what a game. Yeah, there we go. But hey, Elliott had to go for that barrel, Adrian, after the siren. He was probably kicking from about 52 on the boundary. Might have even been a little bit far for him. But you know what? That being said, he probably should have roosted the drop punt. He's pretty good after the siren kick. My gosh, I'm not even going to turn on the live ladder at the moment, just before we go any further. There we go. Just want to give you an update on the other game. It is, there we go. It just started the second quarter over there at Optus Stadium in Perth, and it is Fremantle 3-3-21 leading Port Adelaide 3-1-19. There we go. Fremantle by 2 points in the other game happening right at this moment. Right, let's go and quickly have a little bit of a look. Hey, if you play the AFL fantasy game, Riley Hardman, well, he's on top at the moment with 62 points. The top three North Melbourne players, 0-57, Daniel 53. Goal scorers in today's match. I'm praying to every God there is log. Go the Pies! Go the Pies! Hey, Philip, I tell you what else we'll be cheering on before I go any further. Where is it? You know what? I did have the fixture on. Where is it? The fixture. We'll be hoping for St Kilda to win too, because we don't want Gold Coast Suns to keep winning, because they got that game in hand. They got that game in hand. Hey, let's get back to the player stats in a moment. Commentators are back. Let's hear what they have to say on the opening half.
And jump with their sub. Great to have your company on Super Saturday Live. Brought to you by the Toyota Land Cruiser Prado. Oh, what a feelings. We get down to Nathan Buckley, Jonathan Brown, and Cam Mooney.
Great first half of footy, boys. Really enjoyed it. North Melbourne up by 9 points. They've been sensational, really, the way they've applied themselves. What a Collingwood lucky to be that close. I want to go to the highlight, though. The man who's been the star, he's had a fantastic year. He's our Macca's halftime highlights. That man, Tristan Cherry, in the centre there.
Yeah, he's been excellent. Highest rated player on the field. Came in a marquee matchup. Boots put it on the agenda with he and Darcy Cameron. I think it's been about 50-50 though. Like Mason Cox played a lot of ruck, and some of Cherry's best moments have actually been against Cox in the second ruck role. So it'd be interesting to see how much time Darcy Cameron's on the field and maybe matching up against Cherry more often than going the 50-50 that Collingwood did in the first half.
Well, it's his follow-up work, isn't it? I mean, it's these kind of things that he does, but when he hits the ball, it's his follow-up work like Big Mummy. He's got a presence, Bucks.
Does.
And you know what it's like when you've got a big ruckman running around next to you on your team, makes you walk a lot taller as a midfielder.
There's been a clear plan by the North Melbourne team. Obviously, Alistair Clarkson led about controlling the footy. So uncontested mark game. Look at that. They've taken 71 marks, 64 of those uncontested. That's the most since 2023 Bucks. Now, they've only been averaging about 50 odd the last 6 weeks. What's going on? Because we saw this in round 15 last year when they played against Collingwood. How often do coaches go back to the well, Bucks?
Well, it's not just the coaches, it's the players themselves. They would have had a lot of belief, being able to go 9 goals up against a side like Collingwood last year with a very similar squad. If you go in with similar tactics and you do it a little bit better for a little bit longer, well, you're going to get the win.
But it was 12 months ago.
No, it was 12 months ago, but it's the same group of players against a similar group of players. Same coach versus the same coach. So but they came back from 54 points last time. I mean, they're not that far down, Collingwood. So now the next challenge is what do North do in the second half?
Well, this is going to be the question. We just spoke with Jack Chris, and he talked about let's push up. So we're going to get that response from Collingwood, aren't we? So how does North Melbourne handle that pressure? We saw it early in the game when Collingwood got a lot of smothers and all those type of things. They got a couple of goals off that, but they went away from it, Buck. So if they bring that back, how are North going to handle it?
Absolutely. We've got a great game here Saturday night. Footy, North Melbourne versus Collingwood, but we've got a huge month of sporting action coming up on Fox.
All right, while they're off again, let's get back to the stats, boys, and have a little bit of a look. Yeah, the Gold Coast, like Freo, is still a question when they travel there. There is certainly a different side. Although Gold Coast haven't done too bad when they've travelled. That being said, up in Darwin, up in the hot day, the hot temperature places, they went right up there. I tell you what, they're a tough team to beat up in their home ground. But, the MCG's a totally different a totally different tune. Of course, Gold Coast and Freo not really good on the big stage down there. Is Port winning? Let me recap that. Freo was winning a couple of minutes ago. Freo are winning 3-4-22. They're leading Port Adelaide 3-2-20. 4.5 minutes, nearly 5 minutes into the second term over there at Optus Stadium in Perth. There we go. We'll keep an eye. I know we'll keep an eye on you. We need Port to win there for Triple B. There we go. Goal scorers in today's game. Hey, there's only one multiple goal scorer, and of course that's Jamie Elliott. He's doing pretty good, isn't he? 2 for Jamie Elliott, 1 for Lachlan Sullivan. Tim Membry's got 1. That's it. Not many goal scorers there for the Maggies. For North Melbourne, the Kangaroos drive you hopping mad. This Cameron Zerha, Zeri, Jai Simkin, Larky, Constanelli, and Curtis are the single goal scorers there for North Melbourne. It is a good game. It's a good game. Look, we expected this, as I said at the start of the coverage. I thought it'd be a fantastic game. You can't write off any team in this competition, but especially a team like North Melbourne, who's been in pretty good form, that have got fantastic belief about themselves, especially these past 4, 5, 6 weeks, and what they've been able to do is pretty impressive. Caleb Daniel there. Tell you what, the little pocket rocket for North Melbourne, he's leading the way. 19 disposals. Well, there you go. I don't know whether we'd expect that. You back Port and Pies. Let's get 6 from 6. Hey, good luck. Tell you what, we'll be happy if that happens for you. We'll be cheering them on. 19 disposals for Caleb Daniel. There we go. He's going well for North. Josh Dacos, best for Collingwood out there with 15. Here we go. It shows you some of the Pies aren't doing much out there. 15. They've got a big second half coming their way. Harry Schniezel Ganaki on 14. As you can see, look at that. 2, 4, 5, 6 of the top 7 from North Melbourne possession getters. Holy moly. Ned Long on 13 for the Maggies. Luke McDonald. Harry Perryman on 11. Nick Dacos, how quiet. When was the last time anyone's seen him only have 10 possessions up until half time? 3 kicks, 7 handballs, 2 marks, 3 tackles. I'm sure he'll come into the game and we'll be loving that. Come on, Collingwood, let's show them who is first. What's that? ILGDS so much 2025. There we go. You'll have to let us know what that means. Daniel's pulling his weight tonight. He certainly is. Tell you what, he's been a good pickup I reckon he's been a pretty good pickup for the Kangaroos, as has Luke Parker. A good bit of experience coming into that side. I think Dacos is... Yeah, he might be. He had that bit of a sore hip last week and he was getting a bit of a rub down. So that's possible. If that's the case, play him up forward. They shot him down forward a couple of weeks ago, or was it last week or the week before, and he actually did quite well. They opened up the forward line for him, he just outdid his opponent pretty comfortably there. Bo McCreary just on the 9, Darcy Cameron. Where is the wheels for you? Jeremy Howe was 7. Nick Larkey with 8 touches. His kick 1-on-1. Will Huskin Elliott on 6. Will Parker, there's one of your men. Still just the 4 touches, 2 kicks, 2 handballs, and a mark. And of course, where is he? Oh my gosh, now I'm trying to find that debutant. Will Hayes, there he is. Just the 2 touches for him up until halftime. 1 kick, 1 handball, 4 tackles. He did get a nice received handball. Went for a run, but of course, Wardle ran him down, holding the ball. No, Bobby's not playing. Bobby's out. Was still side bottom. Pendlebury's out. I think Day is out. Look, there's a lot of quality players out. But that being said, the Pies should be able to handle themselves. Hang on, let me have a little bit of a listen, see if they're talking about.
Let's talk about in our Saturday night debrief. What do you think is the biggest story thus far, though, Jacob?
Oh, Blues, no doubt.
All right, so they're just talking about the Blues there. We don't want to talk about the Blues. Ed Allen, how are we going? Ed Allen, let me have a bit of a look. Oops, here we go. Ed Allen, let me check out Ed Allen's stats. Let me just roll down. Obviously not a great deal there. Edward Allen, there we go. He's had 8 touches. He's only had the 2 kicks, 6 handballs. He's had 1 mark, 3 tackles there. That's all he's done. So he's another one who needs to lift. Actually, the whole Collingwood team need to lift. Whole Collingwood team need to. As I said, Josh Dacos is the top disposal getter for the Pies on 15. And then Ned Long on 13. Harry Perryman on 10. So very small numbers. North Melbourne just, they're doing as they please at the moment. Where were we? Team stats. Let's go and have a look. Have a look at this. Plus 56 on the disposal count for North Melbourne. Yeah, that needs to change. Collingwood need to get the ball in hand a lot more. 65 more kicks to North Melbourne. Pies +9 on the handballs. Inside 50s. 26 inside 50s North Melbourne for 12 scoring shots. Magpies have been inside 21 times for 13. So doing pretty good, a bit more efficient there. But I tell you what, still, it's super low number for the Magpies at 21. North Melbourne going above their season average of 46 there, but the Pies, they should be up around 28, around the 26, 27 mark on there. But I tell you what, some of their the way they've been putting it in there, it's not the best what they've been doing it. And of course, they did have the 3 go up for the mark. There was 3. There was Cox and I think Elliott and someone else. They went up and they just spoiled themselves when they should have just left it for Coxie. It was about 15 metres straight out in front. So yeah, they just got to talk more and get it right. Free kicks, not much happening there. Disposal efficiency, Magpies 73, 70. Oh, there you go. I would have thought the efficiency was a little bit better for the Roos. Free kicks, Pies +5. I don't know, that hasn't seemed to be really too many free kicks in this game, but that's the stats. It's +5 to the Pies, 12 to 7. Hit-outs, there you go, North Melbourne +2 in the hit-outs. Clearances, you don't often see this too often, the Pies getting smashed in the clearances. 20 to 13, +7 to North. Even the centre clearances, North doubling the Magpies, 6 to 12. There we go. Even the stoppage clearances, North Melbourne on top. I'll get back to the comments in just a moment. Contested possessions. Look, contested possessions. North are just going harder at the ball, and you can see that throughout the game. North they're going harder at the ball. They got more speed on the ball. They got more pressure on the play. They're backing up each other. They get 3 and 4 to a contest where the Magpies, they're just out like for a Sunday picnic. That's where I think the Magpies can certainly pick up in the second half. I think Craig McRae will give him a left foot up the backside and say, hey boys, lift your game. Uncontested, that's +30 to North Melbourne. Got to stop the chip and got to be able to stop that chip and mark. For North Melbourne. Turnovers 32, 28, not too bad, just pretty standard. But have a look at the marks. They're doing that chip, they're just controlling the ball. North Melbourne, 71 marks. North Melbourne's season average, 78 marks for a full game. They're already at 71 up until half time. The Magpies, you see, they just need to control the ball a little bit more. 86 their season average, 27. Come on, boys, come on. Marks inside 50, 6 to 4. Both teams getting a little bit, but they've been inside 50. They just need better entries inside their forward 50. Just clear the space, talk to each other. Let's have a look at the tackles. Well, I mean, that's surprising, isn't it? That's surprising. Maybe North Melbourne haven't had to tackle as much because they've had the ball so much more than the Pies, but only 18 tackles up to a half. Yeah, gee whiz. There we go, 46. Magpies tackling all right, but they just need... They need to just put that pressure on around the ground, even when it's even the perceived pressure. That's what they need. Tackles inside 50, both teams. Reasonably good there. 6 and 7. There we go. What are some of these chats going on here? Yeah. Bobby's not playing. That's it. Bobby's not playing tonight. Ed Allen. Yeah, we covered Ed Allen. Are you playing in Melbourne? I'm surprised they're all out. Who's all out? Yeah, this is played in Melbourne at Marvel Stadium. This is a home game for North Melbourne. Of course, the home ground for Collingwood is the MCG. But this is in Melbourne. 302 goals up halfway through the second quarter. There we go. Son all. Life for a life. Morning, men. What do you used to check the game like that? What do you mean? What do you used to check? Oh, you can just go to the app or come here, or we can let you know the scores for the other game. Of course, the other game, there we go, 14-minute mark in the second quarter. It's Fremantle extending the lead now, 5-4, 34. Port Adelaide, 3-3, 21. It's Fremantle by 13 points, 15 minutes into the second quarter there. Okay, I'm sorry, I meant, come on, Collingwood, let's show them why we are first. That's it. That's what we're hoping to do. Oh, look, I'm sure. Can you give me a shout out? LMK K2K, shouty, welcome in. Thanks for coming. Hey, thanks for coming into the last game as well. Hey, my gosh, that's enough of me talking. We're into the third quarter. Let's get back down to the action.
Long, Darling got up there. Howe just as high. Little fumble. Nick Dacos left it behind. McKercher. Josh Dacos mops it up. Long. Houston. Markov. Again, the late in. With a couple of lates out. Nick Dacos heads to my check. For an on contact this time. So they didn't play it a couple of times in the opening half. They've had a chat at half time.
Yeah, the umps to a man swallowed the whistle on the marking free kicks. So that was marginal, like compared to some of the ones we saw in the first half.
North kicked the last 3 goals of the opening half. Collingwood jumped up the second half.
Absolutely. If they want to stay in front, North,
Come on, Pies. That's the way.
Dacos. The young fella called Nick Dacos can cause a little bit of damage. He just sneaks out the back here. Obviously a defensive breakdown by North. So no awareness. You've got to go with him now. I know he's matched up against Tristan Sherry, but someone else has got to take responsibility for him.
Even the big fella needed to go. He only had 10 touches in the first half, so he's got a bit of pride. And this second half will not be played the same way the first half was. So North, we're plus 22 in contested ball in the first half, so they tipped into many areas of the game. But this is going to be a challenging half for North, for the coaching staff, for the players, because Collingwood will change it up. They will come again.
For Alistair Clarkson, third season as North Melbourne coach. For Alistair Clarkson, the 4-time Hawthorn Premiership guru. Big contest in the middle. Simpkin, McDonald got his arms free, not quite his body free. Here's Nick Dacos again. Not too wide with that kick, but they'll take that ball in.
I think they've been reminded about the pressure too, Collingwood. It was good in the first quarter backs, but dropped off in that second quarter. You've just seen there, clear example. They've come out with an intensity to the defensive side of their game, Collingwood.
Well, they had 47 tackles in the first half, but they didn't have the ball much, and that's why they were able to stick those.
Wide check, slaps it down. Elliott pounces on it and pounces on it. He's got 3.
In territory early this third quarter, so win clearance, taking it in the first half, get it forward. A resulting goal there by Jamie Elliott, who's been dangerous for a 50 opportunity there.
So those 2 goals doesn't mean that North can't do what they did or have the same attitude, but it does. It's like Collingwood have come out at half time, come out of the corner, they've just punched North straight on the nose, George Wardlaw style. So now it's how do you respond? Now they've just got to maintain their medal, because the template of the first half is what they need to get back to. How do you do that? You've still got to win the ball in close.
He's having a great season. Jamie Elliott, number 3 for General Falls in the competition, averaging 7 score involvements a game. Fantastic. He's kicked a 6, he's kicked a 5. A great season.
He had 26 goals for the year now. Jamie Elliott had the vascular issue in his foot last year, gave him some issues, but I mean, a great year. Long was given an eternity. Umpire said, not long enough. Allen extracts it. He's at the long. Sets the handle for the forward. Sullivan to Allen. Old school Collingwood, that movement. Didn't quite get the finish thereafter.
Another clearance win territory. Let's just watch now what Collingwood do to try and take this uncontested mark game away from North Melbourne.
So North led by 9 at half time. They've blinked. And Collingwood lead by 4. Colgan to Larkey. In a good battle with Frampton. Frampton wins this again. Josh Dacos been in sensational form. The Crest. Clever pickup. Then his bootlacer, Stolopinski, who's fresh, who's the sub last week. Big round of applause again for Will Hayes. The debutant does well.
Sorry, Brian. Good play by the Collingwood forward. So just backed away there. They allowed the midfielder space to run into. Jack Crisp took the opportunity.
Takes a deep breath. A few weeks away from notching up his 250th game in a row. He's 31 years of age. They've rested still side bottom. They have rested players this year, it's probably unlikely they'll rest Jack Crisp, given that run that he's got going. And this, for 3 in a row, to start the half, it drifts a little, the fists through from behind.
If anything, Collingwood just wanted to bounce back a little bit quicker. They looked like they were trying to turn North Melbourne around and have them on their heels a little bit. One of the ways to stop a side moving the ball so well is to force them to defend a little bit differently.
How? Put that into the 15th row. Bang.
Well, that's actually going to feature tonight or tomorrow night.
You got that one?
That's Golden Fist winner, that one, isn't it?
Yeah, already. Don't worry about the games tomorrow.
That was 10 minutes, dude. How he's watching it too. He's watching how far back it went.
Little hush. Falls over Marvel Stadium. This one's on a nice edge. Both teams have had their share of the lead, but it's been tight from the outset. Handed wide. With Davies Uniac's been at hand. Stevens. So what he wants to do here, Finbar Maley.
Keep from Nelson.
Yep. Through Ireland. For about a minute he was in Ireland.
Coached by Brody Holland.
Centering kick.
Kicking.
Lucky was almost held. I said, roll it on, boys. And the Pinsky's wrapped up by Curtis.
Good movement from stoppage there. It was excellent hands. Great call, Dwayne, about LDU.
Well, whose free's that?
It's a winner, isn't it?
Sherry thought it was his.
It's all right.
Looks pretty sincere. Nick Dacos wobbles it wide. And there is Hartman again. He's having a really good game.
In front of him in his game in the first half.
The whole challenge about the ruck is how close can you go to give a free kick away without giving a free kick away?
Crowd continues to bubble. Masterclass has been telling us North season will turn. Wardlaw sends it wide. Plainall takes the mark.
He could rub the bank looking like that, Georgie. He could get away with it now, I reckon.
Not sure facial recognition of getting like that either. Nick Dacos down the spine. Long the double fist. Simon, Josh Dacos has a bounce. There is vapor trail. He heads on the man at the moment. Elliott fought the way by Paul. He really had the motor to get there.
Yeah, all credit to Dave.
He's speed with the game too.
Yeah, well, it's definitely like Josh Dacos. They're Collingwood inside. They're going to go quicker. They want to force Melbourne to do more work in defence. But Hayden Coyle, I've knocked him a little bit in this early stage of the year. Hasn't quite been up to the level, but that was an excellent bit of play to be able to shut that down.
Sherry Membry. Oh, they really got a piece of it. They did LDU. Simply gets it and his leg tackled by Jeremy Elliott. Big pack around it. Sherry front spot. Membry from behind. Davies Uniac half wrap. McDonald feeds it to Claw. Walls it away. Maley's the man. Can he get up there? He did, but he put it to grass. Sheasel.
It's good. Good by Sheasel to leave that contest. Just get there, help the ground level. We're trying to outnumber. So Jeremy Howe was always going to be the goalkeeper. So they need to even up there, North Melbourne.
Biggest margin of the entire game is the 9-point lead that North have held. That's how close it's been. Collingwood had an 8-point lead in the first half as well. Here he goes again. Nick Dacos. Remember me. Heads to half forward. Thumped away last second. Really had to motor to get there, O'Sullivan.
Already this quarter, Nick Dacos 5 touches, Josh Dacos 3 touches. You see it every midfield stoppage. North are putting it forward in behind the stoppage, which is leaving Josh Dacos on his own, 10 or 15 metres off. If Collingwood's momentum persists, they'll definitely have a look at that.
Shortish throw, another right got there. Sherry read the bounce. Bounced it away. Maley, front spot. Wrapped up. 360 by Markov. Got away with it. Now wide to Sheasel. Indicated that he wanted the corridor. Sends it long. Maley's up. Not quite crisp. Josh Dacos, Nick Dacos again. He's captain in the team tonight, Nick. He's making a statement. Sullivan, Elliott, off the back, mind check. Can't bounce. Line turn on the kick.
It's really energising off half-back, aren't they? Two Dacos boys combining there. So they're taking away the uncontested marks from North Melbourne. They can kick long down the line, turn it over at half-back and go back at North Melbourne.
Obviously don't have pool table rules at Craig McRae's place. Maynard capped them last week and didn't get the captaincy today. Normally it's winner stays on. Nick Dacos giving it back for this one. Maynard out of the game early. Maynard injured. We'll keep you in touch with what the injury is. Sherry, Simpkin, Howe, Parker. Allen came at him, but he got the kick away. Houston stands under it. Goes up, flies go up. And Stanley did well. Spilled it to the deck and laid a tackle.
Well, we're nearly 10 minutes into this quarter and Collingwood haven't turned the ball over yet. So their answer to North Melbourne's offence has just to be better at their offence. You know, North haven't been able to turn it over, so they haven't been able to get the ball as often in the positions that they had in the first half.
So Bailey gets a free here. He took the pack down.
So he jumps in the footy hole.
He does. Every contest he attacks like it might be his last ever. He sets it up. Larky's up there, big spill, huge crumb to win. LDU back against the grain. Daniel fed it inside. Stevens left it behind. Smashed to the deck. Nick Dacos toe off the deck. Houston in trouble. Meeting that sandwich.
Well done, LDU. It was a big ball to win that first one. Then he had to lay that tackle to stop Collingwood launching again from half back.
Big pack around it. Long. Lipinski. Gave it to Stevens. That was bizarre. Handed him. Behind.
So that's the first turnover. Every other Collingwood chain has either ended in a score or a stoppage. So that was the first cough up, the first give up. Great effort here by Stevens. Nearly finishes.
Fighting hard for his career, John Stevens, the last couple of years. The ex-Swan, they picked 5 in 2019. Markov, another fighting hard, keep his career rolling. McDonald sort of fisted away. Allen goes inside. Chris, Nick, Allen. My checks over the back. My check on Hoskin Elliott. Hoskin Elliott goes up. Hardiman. Caught. Dispossessed. Stevens again. North with some answers at the moment. Collingwood throwing everything at them. And North up for the challenge. Houston. Right. Lipinski.
It's the other phase that Collingwood go into when they're not going fast off the back. They'll wait and get congestion in their forward 50.
Sets it up long. Cherry in that contest, and Daniel content to see it out. Got one to his face for his trouble.
They've got two really contrasting gears, haven't they, Bucks? They've got go slow, set up ahead of the ball, or go really fast off half back.
They don't want ping pong footy up and back. They lose their shape there. They just want to be able to go hard. If they can't score, if they can't execute, well then slow it up and get back in structure.
Willis Elliott trying to run straight through them. Membry again does the right work against the more experienced Tristan Sherry. Simpkin and Nick Dacos, the two captains side by side at the moment. Wardlaw, kick smothered. Lipinski. Elliott. He's been the difference maker all afternoon. That is a great for his fourth.
How do we get left in so much space there, Dwayne? Just amazing. Alistair Clarkson thinking the same thing if you look at the screens. They just left him on his own. So let's just watch Elliott say he's involved in the stoppage. He keeps following up the ball, but as the North players start to trade off with their opponents, he ends up the one on his own. Good finish. post, the handball off, realised that I can do this myself.
Does he get an assist for that?
Assist and a goal.
Yeah. This is now the biggest margins of the game. 11 points, their biggest lead. North kicked 3 goals in a row to finish the first half. Collingwood 3 goals in a row to start the second.
250 stoppage goals this quarter by Collingwood.
Crest caught by Park, dispossessed. This does threaten to go down to the wire. Harry Sheasel this week called it the choke game last year. 54 points up. North were and lost it. Powell with the fly. Powell with the crumb. And the goal.
Such an important finish this.
Let's have a look at the Bunnings builder.
Will do, Dino. It was really important for North to get on the scoreboard and arrest that momentum that Collingwood had. So to come out of the centre bounce there, Howie, with that jump, he'll be smarting with himself a little bit that he didn't put a fist in it and clear that drop zone. But great front and centre there by Tom Powell, non-preferred, struck it beautifully. He was able to finish. So that's really important for North to be able to hold up Collingwood's momentum, to square it up now, you reset, you go to centre bounce, you go, okay, we've taken that punch in the first half of this quarter, now let's get back to our work.
Like that run of 3 Collingwood goals in a row. Again, North with a bye next week. Plenty of time to get over this one. Free kick in the ruck, Darling against Cameron. Whose kick is it? There we go, it's first ball. So Darling a free kick in the ruck. Ruck auto there. Hands off to Daniel. Runs straight down the Staples. Heads long, Curtis, 1-on-1. Wainor wins this one.
It's a game within a game now. Dwayne, the ruck lotto.
Absolutely. Frampton wide. Spears it. Will Hayes.
Just go back to Quaino there, though, Bucks. He learned from that first one, didn't he? Got off him, so he didn't get bench press, then had a nice jump with the ball.
Yeah, disengaged, didn't give him a look.
Mason Cox. Darling gets there and kills that early.
65 on the bench press. How much did you bench, Nathan, at the height of your career?
Just less than that.
Can I have a specific number?
155 was my...
Oh,
I was a bit heavier than Paul, though.
had you covered. Just
Impressive.
Jeez, that's a big lift for a little fella.
It is.
Long. Good pick up, Perryman. Josh Dacos. Will Hayes starting to get it a bit.
Actually, the best I've heard of little fellas was Craig McRae. He did 135. Pretty impressive. We would have thought that out of fly.
Nick Dacos going man's in up. Bad move. So the captain today sets it up for the Leapers. Big fist, Perryman Crumb, spilled it. Constanti went off the deck and missed it completely. Wainor comes down to lend a hand. Long over it. They're over him.
Throw there. Lipinski, I think it was. Collingwood have gone end-to-end from their D50 exits 3 out of 4. They only went 3 times in 20 attempts in the first half.
Zakos barrels it. Right time. Right spot, right time there. Stevens keeping his width.
Just no space, just that room there, just covering up the uncontested marks. Go on, just waited there, that was good.
Playing his way, Jack Darling. Inside dangerously to O'Sullivan, but measured to perfection. And now they run. Pink on the overlap. What's the corridor? McDonald. He launches it. Zerha up. Zerha gets.
Well, the first time we've been able to build up their mark going, they want to switch it to the other side of the field. It'll take a couple of risks through the kicks, but they were good enough to get the execution right, and then finally when his time was right to go inside 50. Great contested mark by Cam Zerha.
Just starting to get his mojo back. Cam Zerha. 4 straight last week against the Tigers. You see the concentration on his face, and he gives North
top of the head of the Collingwood defenders. He just allowed North Melbourne players to run and jump. Just watch Kim Zerha here, so just gets placed right the drop zone.
Once again, Maley's marking effort actually creates a little bit of a barrier for Zerha to get up and do that. As we said at half time, North are going to have to do it a slightly different way. They've been able to go more direct and win some contested ball to kick their goals this quarter out of the middle of the ground. They've only had 10 uncontested marks in the first 20 minutes of this half, so they're standing up. And their contested ball game is pretty good in the first half as well.
Fought back well North, responded to Collingwood's 3 in a row, with 2 in a row of their own. McCreary out of the middle. Marchek turned inside. Sullivan!
Tom didn't go away with that. He got drawn to the ball when he was never going to be able to impact. Let Sullivan out the back.
McCreary in that centre bounce there. Start some physicality and speed.
Everybody takes a breath when they can at the moment. Good pick off. Jumping in Will Parker. Playing number 6 first for the year. For Will Parker, the ex-cricketer. Memory got there, crashed it down, couldn't mark it.
Thank you. Mason, Kristen.
Mason Cox tried to rip out of the air and manufacture something. McCreary hits a good spot with the kick. Who's going to float in? Pink got there, little nudge out. Marchek nearly stole it. Hands it out towards Allen. Options are plenty. Markov. Dainty little kick that might be the required. Or long. Do you get one for too high? It wasn't going to be a mark. But you're going to walk to the ears. Hands it off to Howe. And Jeremy Howe across the face. Sees it through for the line.
Territory battle, 14-7. Here's a little slap across here by Simpkin. Oh, it's a big one.
It's an eardrum buster, that one.
That's why it's lucky you to do that to a bloke with a hard head, don't you?
That could have been serious. Crowd screaming here. Frampton's gone down, and now he's hurt. I'm not all over the point, but if you have just joined us, they lost Maynard early, Collingwood, and lost Scott Pendlebury and Bobby Hill before the bounce after resting still side bottom at selection. So they're down a couple of men. But it's not about who's not out there, it's about who's out there right now. And
Right on the chin.
believe big time. Coleman can't get there. Will Huskin out there. Can he get a free? No. Harden. LDU. This place is rocking. 48,000 expected. North Melbourne home game. Collingwood fans have turned out in force, as they always do. With Davies Uniac and Mungrel. Pink collects and goes. Maley's his target. One-on-one. Howe wins it with a fist. Good attack from both sides. Constanti jumped on by Hayes.
Just need to straighten up there, North Melbourne. Come back inside 50 instead of keeping going wide there. Now the Collingwood defenders to get across.
McKercher. Daniel. Hardiman. 2-on-2. Howe wins as he so often does. Stone off the spill to Chris. To Will Hoskin Elliott. Open paddock. Marchek screaming for it forward. He goes shorter. Elliott. McCreary. Nick Dacos on his lonesome. He loads up. Membry. Can he get there? Tucked away. Brilliant defence, North. Outstanding defence. Hardiman was there. Comden was there. And the great wall of Comden stands up again.
Nick Dacos screaming for that ball. Bo McCreary went for the talk to get to the top of the goal square. Dacos was on his own. Just felt he needed that drop punt. More accurate kick inside 50. I'd see that frustration from Nick Dacos.
7-4 15 tells the story. 7-15 to 8-7. Last time these two teams met, it was a one-point thriller, and the team that kicked the most goals lost. Touch ball. Ugly bounce for Allen, but he knocked it to Nick. Feeds it over the top. Parker, Josh Dacos. Allen with some room to move and used it. Perryman on the back pedal. He mumbles it. O'Sullivan. And it was sweating on him. Hardiman. Coleman. Can Daniel get there? Chris was right with him. Daniel with the experience as well. Chris puts him hands down and spears it to Myercheck.
Here's a switch on defence with this quarter. Collingwood pressure at the ball, set up behind the ball's been outstanding. Jack Crispus anticipated the turnover then. Already covered the exit. That's why he was able to beat out Caleb Daniel. It's one of the best defensive team in the competition, Collingwood. That's why they're on top of the line.
Let's get 1 goal, 2 today. 1 goal, 3. Melbourne fans breathe a sigh of relief. Core. Almost happy to let Stevens get it. Back to Core. He torps it. Set hard. Davies Junior. They did this in the opening half, North. Held possession. Chip mark game. Daniel does likewise. Just required to Stevens. Again, they've left him free. Sherry's at full forward lurking. Screaming for it. Can he get there? Allen got there. Put it to the deck. Got his own crumb. Long. Nick Dacos. Arms free and off he goes. Has a bounce. Mark off. Plain long. Drives it long. Members his target. Backed into. Good contest. Pink. Their new hero for North fans. Doing the job again.
Again, forward from Collingwood. Just so careful. Dylan Stevens didn't drop it deep enough. That kick inside 50. Nick Dacos was lurking. They launched from half back. Like an you'd scored against them again, North Melbourne.
Flung in the air. Sherry rips out of the air. Caught. Sloan got a handball away. Wardlaw attacks it and it's knocked out of play. It's an amazing story, Toby Peak. 3 years on the Swans list. Didn't get a game. And spent 4 years in the football wilderness after the Swans delisted him at the end of 2019. Start for Glenelg as fullback in the Sandful in 2023. And he is really growing before our eyes. Saved the game with his mark last week and doing the job again today. Powell bangs it. Houston. Plainall. Where does Isaac gone? Isaac had on for the goals. Isaac gone. Stevens. And Larky wants it quick. He danced one way, went the wrong way. Who was out there? There was no one out there. Lipinski's got a corral. There was not one North player out there. A floater. Through hands. Nick Dacos just keeps finding it and just keeps finding teammates' chests.
Toby Pink's got every right to have a crack at Dylan Stevens. Like, it's hard enough to defend when you've got an even chance. But Dylan Stevens had Nick Larky at the back and he was having a look there initially and then just lost his head. Thought, obviously felt the pressure and just wanted to get it out of his hands, but had some options. Bad turnover. Collingwood make you pay.
Another amazing story. Delisted free agent. Across the face. Slap 3-4 behind. Tim Membry who slaps the ground.
Collingwood still yet to turn the ball over anywhere but their own D50. They've had 2 D50 turnovers, a Lipinski handball and another. They haven't turned the ball over once they've got it out of their D50.
Got to do something about Nick Dacos, 11 touches this quarter.
So the seconds tick down. What do the Kangaroos want to do with it from here? Safe. along the boundary. There was a little hold there. Oh, and he didn't give it back to the right player either.
Jeremy Howard going a little bit behind the play.
Didn't give it back to any player. Will Parker, Curtis, spears it, hoping for Luke Davies-Uniacke. And he gets it on the bounce. Chris, still time enough for something crazy from here. 26 seconds left. Collingwood by 4 points. Both teams have shared the lead, but it hasn't broken out beyond 2 goals for either team at any stage. There's the Dacos third quarter numbers. The captain is rising. Simpkin, speaking of captains rising, and he gets himself a free that had the last say of the quarter, and he kicked the ripper in the second. So he can't run around here. If he does, it'll be play on, it won't count, so he has to go back, he's been told now.
Yeah, the bench grabbing from the bench. Hold it, have a set shot.
For the lead for North Melbourne with 1 quarter left. Jai Simpkin, the Kangaroo captain, huge moment. And hasn't scored, it has just scraped in for a behind, but the stage is set. North Melbourne and Collingwood played an epic here last year. This one looks like going down the wire again. Great to have your company on Fox Footy. Don't forget the footy never stops on Fox Footy Monday night. Arguably the best night of the week. AFL 360, the new...
All right, boys, it is 3/4 time. My gosh, I tell you what, I'll even chip in a couple of bucks so the Pies can actually buy a goal. 7 goals, 17. 59. Leading North. 8-8, 56. Oh, my God. I tell you what, they had so many entries in that forward 50. They had good chances to kick goals. They're just not kicking straight. I think this is just one of those games for the Pies, and if they get over this game with a win, I tell you what, they'll be very relieved if they can actually get up and over this win. They, to me, it felt like they dominated that third term. Have a look at this. 3 goals, 8. 3 goals, 8 in that third term. North Melbourne, 2 goals, 2. 4 scoring shots to 11. Holy moly, what are they doing? What are they doing, the Pies? Come on. They came out like a rocket, put the first couple on, and then the third got out to about, what was it, about 11-point lead, 12-point lead, and then North got the next couple. Pies, what are you doing? Kick straight, kick straight, kick straight. So who will win? Paris? Well, we're hoping for the Pies, as Mark's saying. We are hoping for the Pies. Works kicking this year. Absolutely. How minute one set is there? There's the quarters are 20-minute quarters, but with time on an extra, it can go to about 30 minutes for the quarter. The next quarter will start in just under 4 minutes time, so not too far away. Yeah, it's just, I know when you hear that, like 3 goals, 8. Come on, give us a break, Magpies. Do what you're doing. I tell you what, thank goodness, Dacos had like 11 disposals in that third term. He helped lift the Pies. Their intensity lifted, of course, but I think this is where I think it's pretty hard because Crisp out there. He's sort of leading the way a little bit with Nick Dacos in that third term. But this is where it's really important to have someone like Pendlebury out there and Sidebottom, just some of the old heads that can calm and analyze it while they're going out there and sort of direct their players out there. Let's just have a quick glance at the goal scorers. Jamie Elliott, though, he's having a pretty good game. Tell you what, he's got his kick and boot on. He's had 10 disposals, 8 kicks. He's kicked 4 goals. Lockie Sullivan, Myercheck, I tell you what, 1 goal, 3 from Myercheck. That's unlike him. He's usually pretty accurate. So is Tim Membry, 1 goal, 2. Come on, boys. There we go. Cameron Zerha, I tell you what, they want to hope he doesn't get going in the final quarter unless you're a North Melbourne supporter. Pies 17 behind. I know, can you believe it? Holy moly. 17 behinds, that's more scoring shots than North Melbourne have had in total. Zerha 2 goals, Zeri 1, Simpkin, Powell, Larkey, Constantini, and Curtis 1 disposal getter. Caleb Daniels still leads the way on 26, Josh Dacos 22. Nick Dacos up to 21. He had a bit of a barnstorming third term there. That's more like it, and I'm sure he'll continue that. Ned Long, he's up to 21, 11 tackles. He's tackling quite well. 3 clearances. Jai Simpkin, 19. Who else we got? Quainer on 14. Harry Sneasel on 15. A bit of a quiet game for him, just on the 15. Luke Parker, a little bit the same, 13. A couple of danger men there that could lift for North Melbourne also coming into the final quarter. We need McCreary to lift, put him back in the centre. He does well for some clearances out of the centre. Brody Meyer checked. At least in that third turn, the Pies sort of created a little bit of space. I think if they haven't made the sub, although I think they've already made the sub for Collingwood early in the game. I don't know who went off and who came on, but that's sort of certainly what they could do with it. Josh Waterley, he hasn't had much of the ball. He's only had 8 also for North Melbourne as well. But yeah, Mason Cox, if they hadn't played the sub, Mason Cox is doing absolutely. Look at that. I was saying it's the worst game I think I've ever seen him play. 2 possessions, 2 kicks, 1 mark, 1 tackle, 5 hit-outs. He's just doing absolutely nothing tonight for being a Pipe. Maybe in the final quarter, folks, maybe he will actually lift. Who knows? He might be the winning goal scorer. I'll be happy to steal the win. I tell you what, we'll be absolutely happy to steal the win, or maybe a run away. You know what? Let's hope. You know what? For all the North Melbourne supporters, hopefully you do well. But for the Pies supporters out there, let's hope that you can snare, get the first couple of goals, start to kick straight this quarter. Hey, it's half time over at Optus Stadium. It's Fremantle leading the way, 6-6-42, leading Port Adelaide 5-4-34. It's only 8-point margin. It's a tight game over there as well, folks. She's a tight game over there. You never know, if we get done in time, might be able to cover the last quarter of that game. But let's stick to this game to begin with. Come on, boys. Get the chewy off your boot and let's start to kick straight. North or Collingwood? We're going to go for Collingwood. They're leading the way, the Pies. So we're gonna end up with the Pies. It was the Pies leading in the first, North in the second, Collingwood in the third. Let's hope it continues. Collingwood after the siren. We're in front. Yeah, we're in front. 3 points. Now let's hope it stays that way. All right, let's get down to the ground for the final quarter. Come on, Pies.
Collingwood is harder for them to rebound.
Marley subbed down. Nick Dacos coming off that sensational third turn. Captaining Collingwood in this one tonight. From the scramble. Darcy Cameron going nowhere, wrapped up by Powell. Ball up. Stevens. Well, Oscar Elliott hunts him down. Back inside to Powell. They've played this possession game very well today. North, that target missed, but it's not a turnover. They can get a ball in.
So it's been a challenge for North Melbourne. George Wardlaw's been wrapped up like a mummy, so he's only had the 8 disposals. He burst into the game at the start, but it's been a real challenge for him with that nose of his.
Still Nick Dacos and Simpkin, the 2 captains side by side. Powell stripped. Got some time again. There is Wardlaw in the heat of it. Plainall went up, couldn't do something with it. Larky got the crumb, couldn't do much with it either. Close to the boundary. Isaac picked their pockets and barrels of the tall. Mason Cox, was he held? Umpire said no, crowd thought yes. Core inside, Daniel back outside. Hardiman spanks it long. Zerha, got it, no. Put it to grass. Had a huge piece of it. Plainall, Houston. And Hoskin Elliott. Simpkin was right there with him. Hoskin Elliott wide. Bouncing ball and Conman content to keep it alive. Court. Hardiman. Conman. Thumps it towards Sheasel. Gets there. What's Harry going to do here? He grew up a forward, midfielder forward. Clarkson turned him into a defender for a while. Heads towards Zerha. Don't take the mark.
Cherry had a good play on that. It went through his hands in the end. So Good spot to put the ball from Harry Sheasel, gave Zerha a look, gave Sherry a look. And in the end, no Collingwood players were able to intercept. They get a forward 50 stoppage. Let's get to work.
Magpies by kick. Sherry out of the air. Simpkin behind his back. Collingwood's only lost 2 games this year to the Giants opening round and then Geelong at the MCG by 3 points. Known as the tight game specialists. They've got another one. Josh Dacos, Nick Dacos arches the back with a handball further forward. So Fisher is on the sub. LDU around his body. Zerha crashed away. Will Hoskin Elliott with the crumb. Caught, couldn't get his kick away decisively. Simpkin lurking. Wardlaw, the throat by the Wardlaw. Takes them all on, sizes them up, goes with a sizzler. Delaki couldn't quite pull it down. Zerha outside of the boot. It's never really going to work. Playing off Frampton. Howe. Memory. Beats Pitt.
Where's the left foot there, Nathan? From Cam Zerha. Would you like the left foot? Instead of the banana kick.
Oh, Chris, it's a nice little touch from Zach Fisher.
It could be a 2-goal turnaround here. Mason Cox or Elliott? Mason Cox protected Elliott.
Is that a shit kick by Mason Cox? Well, Coleman's going back there in this space. He just gets shippered.
Sure, it's a free against Coleman, if anything, but I like that they play the mark and not the free. I think they should always do that. I know that's not really in the rule book, but I like to see the positive play.
Is that a block?
To who?
Is that a block to Mason Cox?
Which one? I think the first one. I don't think Coleman had his eyes on the ball.
For number 5 for Jamie Elliott. And a 2-10 margin for Collingwood. You couldn't keep arguing on Jordan.
Well, I'll tell you, you'd be going bananas throwing stuff on the TV with our man Jared Healy. No left foot by Cam Zerha.
Really good handball here. First touch as a sub. It happens so much in the modern game though, is the outside of the foot. We laud it at times when it comes off. But you're right. If you had a left foot, you would have gone out at a 90-degree angle and then, like Tom Powell did earlier, and finish. And at least you put the opposition on the back foot, kicking out from goal if you don't score. But Collingwood going end to end again, which has been was a feature of the third quarter, and it started off in the same way in the fourth.
Stayed like he should.
Yeah, he played well, kicked goals last year against North Melbourne like he should.
Still Sidebottom, who was rested before they realised that Pendlebury and Hill were going to be out. Nick Dacos slams it long. Elliott in the spot again, got up there, couldn't mark it. And he is wreaking havoc right now, Nick Dacos. Since half time, it's almost been unstoppable.
That's right, he's been on. So we're talking about close game specialists, Dwayne. They don't have Sidebottom and Pendlebury, who are the 2 conductors in those close games over the last few years. So it's another challenge for Collingwood.
And their captain Darcy Moore out as well, the AC joint. The Davies Uniac and North have been practicing close game scenarios. Not sure that was the scenario that Sheasel was after all Hardeman, but they'll take it. It's a ball up. North won a close one last week. Held on for a draw the week before that against the Lions. Simpkin slung. Little slap down was going to be good. My check nearly made it good. Big. Hardeman. Wardlaw. The running machine. Possession machine. Hardeman to Powell. Quick fire. Gets it back. Now, did he have power? He did.
Jared Darcy Cameron set up a kick behind the play. Picked the right time to come forward to defend there. He became a ground level pressure player. Did it really well.
Big moment for Will Hayes. Debutant with pocket to Nick Dacos. He took the step. He played on. And he scissored it to Chris. Fair skills.
4.5 turnover. This Collingwood's game, it's bread and butter. I haven't seen a huge amount of it tonight, but we saw this occasion, Will Hayes, great occasion for him on debut.
Yeah, just their 14th front half turnover. obviously showed that before the game. They've averaged 24, number one in the competition. They actually normally get full effect from them. Just 2-2 today from that source, but this will be the fifth score.
For the biggest margin of the night to either team, 15 points. Collingwood.
Yeah, it's really well done. It's back to Darcy Cameron. I thought he made a really good, smart decision. So he's back there as a long protector, I suppose, if the ball goes long and high, but he came forward, got involved at ground level.
That's Dacos' 16th touch in the second half. He's really got to work. I thought his brother was the spark in the first 3 or 4 minutes of the third quarter, but Nick only had the 10 at half time, and so he had a chat to himself at half time. He thought, right, we need a little bit of a spark. I need to get going. Let's increase the work rate. They definitely flick the ball around more out of half back, and that brings him into the game through the middle of the field. And how many times we've seen him through the centre square? He's actually that player who creates the next uncontested possession or finishes it off.
It's deja vu for Arthur Clarkson and for North. Was Nick that did the job on them in the last quarter in the corresponding game last year. Memory! Good grab.
Just a genuine one-on-one. You win the territory, win the centre bounce, got 6-6 ahead of the ball.
Hard to believe you might not be wanted by the bottom half team and could end up playing in a flag for the top team. Tim Memory, after 178 games for the Saints, to punch this margin out beyond 20. Got it. As good as it gets from Tim Memory under pressure.
He's been on there tonight, but the set shots have been okay. 5 goals for. There's a one-on-one, beautiful kick there, genuine one-on-one, contested marks. Long calls, a good defender, the one-on-one contest. I love the body position, early identification where the drop zone was. Gets up, takes it, most importantly, goes when he kicks the goal, keeps the momentum going for the pass.
Yeah, the 10-17's a little bit misleading. There's been 8 rushed behinds in that. So, and that's probably something to look at for Collingwood too, and kicking a little bit deep without putting it in a hot spot to be able to take advantage, put more pressure on. But Memory would, Pink's had I think he's played really well on him. Hayden Corbett on the occasion.
McCreary hands up Crest. He can launch it from there. He does launch it, but he launches it wide. Got him against the ropes. They're led by 9 points North. They're now 22 down. There's an eternity left. What have they got left in the tank? They've got a bye next week. Stevens runs. Plenty of North fans in the house. But they've got a fight back left.
The Collingwood are doing what good teams do, don't they? They take the best punch, they absorb it. They don't shoot themselves in the foot. They were able to stem the tide. They didn't allow North to get too far away from when they controlled, for most part, the play in the first half.
Short throwing. Cherry takes it out of the air. Mason Cox coming him down. He was given a long time. And Long had him.
Just got very long.
Lipinski.
Score involvements there at the moment.
Allen. Down the middle. Now picking their way through them brilliantly.
They led long, 12 tackles, 12 score involvements. It's a big day, 23 disposals.
Come on, Jack. Jack Crooks.
I don't think Dacos sneaking on the field, trying to get a touch.
He hits out wide to mark off. Well, that's a pretty clever kick, really. The scorers on their side, Tom's on their side. Markov can have a crack after taking 30 seconds off the clock. A late inclusion. North Melbourne might not get Collingwood more vulnerable than this. No steel side bottom, no Scott Pendlebury, Bobby Hill out, Darcy Moore, Lockie Schultz, Jordan DeGoey, Dan McStay all out. Their depth has been stretched tonight. Collingwood and Markov It wasn't even on the emergency list. Kicks it monster.
It's maybe the energy from the North Melbourne players like that around an earlier goal kicker. It's just as good because they're close to the unit out the pass.
Whilst Dwayne's looking up whether that was actually his first goal in his career.
Come on, Dwayne.
No, it's obviously been something that's been set up during the week. The celebration was exceptional, and it drew his teammates towards him. But yeah, that's from not playing at all to come in as a sub.
It is his first of the year. I was looking up to see how much game time he had in the one game that he played, because this is his second game of the year. He had one possession against Fremantle, came on at three-quarter time as a sub in that other game that he's played this year. So one possession for the whole season coming into this game tonight as a late inclusion. Oleg Markov. Wide ball. So North now, if they're not on the ropes, they're almost on the canvas.
Four zips and a bounce is corner to Collingwood.
Townley playing rings around them at the moment. The best team of the comp. They'll be top again tonight, Collingwood, if they win this one. Began the day top, 8 wins, 2 losses. North began the day 17th. And there's Nick Dacos again. The man has turned it around.
North Melbourne have hardly had the ball, but they've had 4 uncontested marks this quarter. So you look at what they're able to do: 64 in the first half, down to 20 odd in the third quarter, and then only 4 this quarter. So the game's totally fallen apart.
Aston Cross crashed it down long. Perryman is that the knockout goal. Brilliance in this last quarter from Collingwood.
See these people for Collingwood, they just set up, so Darcy Cameron sets up behind the play. Takes him a set right, they go long, they wait, they go long down the line, so they set up all the numbers around, they get the ball to ground, which Mason Cox did then. Follow up, Perryman kicks the goal on his left, there's the left foot.
Absolutely. And he's a metronome now. He is as dependable and reliable as you like. He will, when he gets the ball, he will always turn corridor and look to access his teammates. And he's a big enough body that he can run through whatever's coming. In that first instance, he'll beat that, and then he'll allow the chain to progress to the middle of the ground where you're a dangerous scoring threat.
How's the emotion? Craig McRae up and about, Oleg Markov, everyone going wild. They know they're up against it, Collingwood. To have 8 or 9 of their best 22 out, and to pull this one out of the fire. They were 9 points down. It's deja vu for North. This was up for grabs. And we're now seeing the difference between top spot and 17th. Wide ball, McCreary. But Davies Junior caught by the Dats. So Reggie. Inside kick, official left that. Constanti. Great smother. And that's where it all started. Collingwood with the smothers early in this game. Nick Dacos lays the tackle, keeps it in the area. They've blown this out to a 34-point margin in a blink, Collingwood. North have finished bottom 2 the past 5 seasons. They're still bottom 2 now. They've improved, but not by ladder position. And that's the essence of it. O'Sullivan, good sidestep, playing against him. Fisher, the late inclusion, or the inclusion this week. Couldn't do something with that, Zach Fisher. Wide ball.
Such a predictable system though, isn't it, Bucks? So they lift the rate at half-time, start taking the contested marks away from North Melbourne. They go quick, they launch quickly off half-back, don't allow North Melbourne to apply pressure. When they slow the game down, they just set up, get numbers to the contest, long down the line, then they energise off that. It's just a system running on full cylinders.
They had Collingwood on toast last year, let it slip. Had them again tonight. Howe bangs it. 10 minutes. 10 minutes they've got left. to salvage it north. Plainall across half back. Allen looked around to see who was coming. Chips it to Big Mason. Hands it back to Allen. They'll full of run. Nick Dacos, long, Allen, they can ruffle. Lipinski sends it to Myercheck. Plays on. They've got 3 inside 50, lurking, having a party. And Will, Oscar Elliott, there's another cherry on it.
Well, at one stage it was 5 Collingwood players in the 450 and 2 North Melbourne defenders. So it was a raffle. Whoever was going to be on the end of it. Just have a look at the wide shot here when the replay comes up. So he takes the mark there from Mason Cox. Hasn't had a lot of the ball, but he's been influential the last few minutes. They just take off. They're off to the races. The numbers ahead of the ball. Which one's going to get it? Who's going to get the lucky dip?
They've had 7 change from the back half this quarter, and they've scored 3 goals. And that's the run and gun in the game that we've seen since the game has really turned. They kicked 1 goal 4 from 8 change in the third quarter. So it's just that go fast. The go fast mentality has really challenged North Melbourne's defence, and it's taken their control offense off them.
6 in a row. Chisholm was almost tripped there. And then he stumbled on his own shadow. He gets a free anyway. How? Again, that golden fist thumps into the boundary and make sure no one can do anything with that. There's Maynard. Came off early with the injury, so did spell a bit of trouble. Had to jump with their sub early. Scott Pendlebury and Bobby Hill were late withdrawals out, but they've shown why they're top of the AFL ladder. They've got some depth, Collingwood. Nick Dacos, and they've got some stars too. Long. Allen. Perryman. Long. They're not done yet, Collingwood. Their meter's still running. Memory. Their plane is still running. Lipinski. Mark off. Big Mason or Myercheck. It is he want. He wants Myercheck. One grab. Gathers the crumb. Hunter down. Being content to let it roll out. Mason Cox was letting it roll out.
The Collingwood players are taking off. It's like they're watching the storm gift.
It is.
Yeah, they're off to the races. They're able to get through North Melbourne's first line of pressure, shift the angle, and then go to their length and forwards.
It was a 54-point turnaround last time these two teams met here. It's now a 49-point turnaround in this one tonight so far. Myercheck gave it up. This will be huge. Will Hayes. Caught dangerously. Will Oscar Elliott floats in. Sullivan. Caught by Powell.
You just mentioned the depth before, Dwayne. I guess that was a question mark coming into the season, wasn't it? Collingwood, the oldest team in history, almost. So the question was, if they did get injuries, are the players missing, what's their depth going to be like? Certainly been able to expose them this year, and they've stood up.
Well, not just the players I've mentioned, they've got a couple other outlets as well. Finn McRae with the shoulder, Reece McGuinness with the knee, Dan McStay with the knee, Jordan DeGoey, Achilles. But they'll get Pendlebury, Hill, side bottom, maybe more, and maybe Lockie Schultz from the concussion protocol back next week for a huge game Friday night against Hawthorn. You'll see that one on Fox Footy. Well, you'll see it all on Fox Footy. From the scramble, Sheasel, Daniel, Hardeman, Tux, so Will Oscar Elliott slaps it down to Nick. Floats it inside 50 to Lipinski, and Sheasel takes the mark.
It's wrong to say they don't rely on talent, but they just don't rely on talent as much. They're a system-based team, so it's plug and play. Young players come in, they don't need to be best on ground, they just need to play their role. And they've shown a capacity to do that consistently over the last couple of years. And then their talent can actually do their job when the game needs to be won.
Fisher sits out in the air a long time. Will Oscar Elliott maybe just overcommitted. with the small attempt. Hardiman goes and gets. Daniel looks it further on. Parker. Howe. Have a crack from there. Keeps it low and keeps it wide.
Deadlock's chase then. You've got to love him. You're talking about players that come in and are playing roles. I mean, he's not going out. So he's come in. He's only played a handful of games before this year, and he's a mainstay.
13 tackles from the time he came in the gather round. It was so impressive that night against Sydney.
Josh Dacos was caught late. Coleman takes the mark. But
and he's coming in as a midfielder in his own right. He's played as a defensive midfielder at Taylor previously.
Moved over Uniac to Stevens. Sits that on Caleb Daniels' head. Houston could have marked that. He's not the recruit of the year yet, Dan Houston. Caught calf against Adelaide. There was doubts with a heat play. He's yet to hit top gear, but Collingwood win the flag and he has an impact. Well, that's what you recruit these guys for. They've got some good ones. Houston, Perryman, Membry all coming into this team this year. Pink, not the required, wrapped up, and then they've got the growth factor of, well, Josh Dacos is almost underrated, which is ridiculous to think about a player that's won a best and fairest in a premiership year, but lives in Nick's shadow a bit. And Frampton, who continues to play his role. Daniel outside of the boot. Zerha keeps fighting the fight. It's felt like a heavyweight clash all night, but it's just been punch after punch after punch landed in this last quarter. Just for North's first of the term. And he hammers it home.
Yeah, he's certainly completely hard in the second half, especially. Himself some opportunities. Hasn't had a big night disposal was, but he's kicked 3 goals, so see this playing in fold.
Amazingly, inside 50s are 11 all. Yeah. 6 goals won to 1 goal won, so that the scoring power has been different. We've seen Collingwood go really hard, but that's North Melbourne's first goal this quarter from 11 inside.
It's always going to be hard bucks for North Melbourne to sustain that style in the first half, 64 contested mark, because you need sometimes Collingwood will come and crank the pressure up. Not that Clark able to when they change the style at half time, because it was working for him, but certainly an experienced team like Collingwood. This is clearly what the message was at half time. Boys, we're going to lift the defensive pressure, lift the defensive work rate.
It hasn't got the second phase as much, and that uncontested game, the kick mark, that exists in the second phase game. This has stayed in the first phase. Contest, stoppage, first transition since half time.
So another clearance for Nick Dacos. Then he got on the end of the chain to get another possession, to get it to half forward. Long tried to knock on. Simpkin tried to back out of a jam.
And you can't get beaten in your one with North Melbourne, especially the younger team. They've been beaten at the scores from clearances in the second half bucks. So, and they've been beaten from centre bounce, which hurts your territory.
Josh Dacos this time to Allen. To Benro. And making a bit of a statement.
To beat the best sides in the competition, you need to play 4 quarters of footy. We spoke about it. And North looked really good, but all the while we were saying that, Collingwood was still, for the most part, in the first half, they were a couple of points out.
Yeah. 1 points there at half time.
For number 3 for Tim Membry for the night. It'll bend back. And bend back enough.
And you nearly need to win it more than once. So North Melbourne have positioned themselves really well, but they haven't been able to finish the job off. And Collingwood fueled their own game coming out of 3/4 time. And the front 6 challenge has been entirely different for Collingwood in the second half. So in the first half, they're doing a lot of running around, chasing these uncontested marks, working side to side, and then having to run back to try and support their back six when North Melbourne were able to get their ball through. But this is, in the end, it doesn't really matter who you're playing. When you start feeling yourself as a team, when you feel like you're playing your best football, it's exciting and it feels great, especially when you're being challenged the way they have, and with the person that we've noted that's not on the park. It's a feather in the cap to be able to go out and execute this second half.
Mason Cox doing some ruck work now, doing it well. Josh Dacos fans it out wide. McDonald won't get there. McCreary keeps his feet. McDonald did get there to knock it out. So
just on the flip side, Dwayne, Alistair Clark's now, how does he look at the, say, tackle count? You've been beaten by 40 in the tackle count, Bucks. Doesn't look like they've lacked effort out there.
Well, they only had 7 in the first half, but their first half was all right, wasn't it? Yeah. So it's, and they've had more they've had 30 in the second half, but they haven't played as well.
Fisher heads out wide. Stevens. 63 possessions between the two. Dakai at the moment, 63 possessions. Memory. Nick's had it 34 times, Josh 29 times. Had another one.
25 for the second half.
Yeah. He sits it up so someone can take mark of the year. My check. Coleman. Been doing that all season.
So maybe Tuck does help one.
Darling. Well, that's a little too wide for everyone, bar the boundary umpire. Might be another 3-vote game for Nick Dacos as well. Turned it around after half-time. He's captaining the team in this one tonight. My check gets up the fists win it. Now, maybe they should have the pool house rules at Collingwood. Winner stays on. But he's captained the team well again. Nick, instead of swapping it over between he and
who's been better, who's been better, Ned Long or Nick Dacos?
Okay.
In your estimation?
All right. Well, I'll default to your judgment.
That was a leading question. That was a question.
Coach's votes are going to be interesting.
Question. In your estimation, bro.
Well, tackle count. He's had some pretty good tackles, Ned Long as well. Josh Dacos up in the air.
It's being invasive, Brandon.
Answer the question, Dwayne.
I'll go Nick Dacos. He turned the game around. He turned the game around after half-time. They asked him to do a job. Curtis. Big Mason. Got up there. Allen. Quaynor. So Brody might check jump here. Commons against him. Pink. Like he did last week, except it's not a one-kick game. Stevens. Drives it long, but it's turned over.
He's got to get inside 50 now. Get a first goal in his first game.
Josh Dacos, Perryman. So Josh now 31, Nick 35. Wide to Allen. For a finishing touch here. Back to Nick. Back to Isaac. You give it back to Nick. That's just unfair. Allen. Back to Nick. Sends it to Mason. Can you get up there? He can't. My check. Finishing touch is superb.
Nick Dacos, Josh Dacos, all the top runner on the side, because he has the most touches, because Nick's just got to fill up with 5 in about 10 seconds. Got a goal there by my check. Got a good battle actually between him and Pitt.
Yeah. And he doesn't need an invitation there as shot on goal checkers. He'll just keep plugging them towards the goals until he nails one, and that was a great finish. But no, for me, Ned Long's been the clear best player in the field. He's been the most consistent across 4 quarters, hard inside, created so many opportunities for his teammates, 15 score assists, 14 tackles. The numbers will be the numbers at the end, but I think his effectiveness, the big fella through the middle, has been great.
Big number, isn't it? 15 score involvements.
9 tackles last week in the win over Adelaide, Ned Long, and 14 to go with it in this. It's been a demolition job. Been a similar turnaround to the corresponding game last year, which was the 54-point turnaround last year. And guess what? 54-point turnaround this year. 9 points down, 45 points up. Collingwood. Hardiman. North head into the bye. Same spot on the ladder they've been for the past 5 seasons. Pretty much. Bottom 2. 17th. Collingwood. The big game against Hawthorn next week. Back to the top of the ladder. Frampton. Little dance step from Billy. The crowd enjoyed that. They got one left in them. There's the free vote man. Neville
Turns Carter again.
turns and goes to my check. Hink in front. Hits the deck. Got a little nudge. This hasn't just been good by Collingwood. This has been scary good. No pedal ring, no hill, no side bottom, no more. No shorts, no to going. No McStay. No Morris.
Sensational, wasn't it? They really cranked the pressure up there. Started winning some clearances as well. Nick Dacos lit up down to Cam Mooney. It was Nick Dacos and Jamie Elliott.
And thanks very much, boys. Well, I'll start with you, Nick. 9 points down at half time. What was the change?
We're trying to kick it better, sort of take the ball, challenge a little bit more offensively, but just dial up our pressure. We thought our pressure was a little bit off in the first half. Part of that was the reason, the way that we were using the ball. Get our pressure going, particularly Ned Long, who really got us going.
Tell us about Ned Long. Just give us a story on how's this kid come in and just doing what he's doing.
He's such a hard worker. Early games follow, it says about him. He's first in to watch his vision. He's the last one that leaves the club. He's just so diligent with what he does, and it shows on the weekend. So we're so lucky to have him. We can't believe sort of 17 other clubs overlooked him, but we're very lucky he's ours.
Joey, tell us about the forward line at the moment. Seem to be clicking very well.
Yeah, we are. We had to lay down with Bob, unfortunately, but we're clicking really well. Hazy coming in tonight for his first game. Didn't look out of it, but we're gelling really well. The first half was a little bit rough. North, they moved it so well. We couldn't get much connection going forward. Kicked a lot of points, but the second half we got to go.
You gave up plus 70 marks in the end. Like, how do you win a game when you give up plus 70?
Yeah, I think it also
plus 40.
I think it all started in that first half. They had a lot of uncontested marks. We gave them too many. They were using it so well, and then going forward, and they were really damaging. The second half, we played 6 forwards ahead of the ball, and we were forcing them to go longer. So that was probably the main thing.
Markov kicks that goal and everyone goes crazy. He gave us a beautiful celebration. Tell us about it.
We call him the energy whip around the club. He's just always smiling. He always says how grateful he is to be on our list. So I think we're the ones that are super lucky to have him, and it was good to see him get a run tonight.
Jamie, when you see someone like Tim Memory come into the team, again, the club didn't want him. He comes into your team. He's just fitted in so well.
Yeah, I think it's more our system. Our system, we don't rely on one person, and he plays system so well. He's such an experienced guy. He's been around for so long, kicked a lot of goals, and he's got a lot of knowledge of the game. But he's got massive leadership, plays his role really well. I feel like each forward has their own role that they play really well. And he's just done that, and he impacts the scoreboard and also on the ground.
Last one, Nick. 2 for 2 for captain. What happens now? What's house rules? Do you get to keep it or do you give it away again?
No. Hopefully we've got Dars back next week, so we're super excited to get him back. I think, as Jamie touched on, hopefully Bob and Pendles too. So it's very exciting.
All right, boys. Congratulations. Great game.
The energy whip.
The old energy whip. Well, when you've got those guys that are smiling, whether it's going for them or against them, you love that. And these guys will have a chat. That is, I mean, the quantum of the second half shift was very similar to last year. So it was 54-point differential in that second half, which ironically was the margin. So that the game took a very similar trajectory as it did last year. So North, Collingwood haven't gone backwards and maybe North haven't come forwards. But I think North, the first half was excellent and it really did show what they put in place in the last month. As you can see there, Collingwood entrenched at the top.
Let's go down to the energy whip.
Well, we are. I'm down with the energy whip. I just talked to a couple of the boys and I said, tell us about you. And they said, no, he's our energy whip. How's that feel?
Yeah, good. Look, I'm just really grateful to be here. I'm just having fun. All the boys know that, so yeah.
Run us through the goal celebration.
Yeah, well, I don't kick many goals, so I would have done the baby cradle, but he's already starting to walk, so he throws his arms up and he marches. So that's to my little one, Lenny.
Lenny, that's for you, Lenny. Mate, tell us about this team right now. Does it feel like 23 again?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a different year. We got different personnel, but everyone's playing to their strengths, and who knows where the ceiling is here. It's definitely above this Marvel one. So look, the world's our oyster.
How's this side when you lose? I don't know, you lose a handful of players. Not lose, but you've got a handful of players out before the start of the game. You lose Maynard as well. This team, 9 points down, goes on to win by 45. How?
Plug and play. Everyone just is compliant to their role. It's a system. We don't need individual brilliance. I got the call at about 3:30 today. I was walking out of Bunnings. I was meant to do some flooring. I'm doing it at Renault, so I guess playing at Marvel is definitely better than doing flooring. So I'm very grateful I got the call.
So what time did you get the call? You're in Bunnings when you got the call?
At 3:15. I actually missed it. My hands were full.
Did you get a sausage?
I was thinking about it, but after I saw Craig pop up, I thought he saw me, so I decided to walk straight to the car.
All right, congratulations. Go and enjoy with the boys.
Moons is the contender for first, second and third interviews of the year that players going at the moment. That is phenomenal. So he wasn't even on the emergencies list.
You need to get some basic super glue for Georgie Wardlaw.
I wonder if you unpack that, I wonder whether the selection coming in was as much about the energy and the gratitude as it was for what role you can play. So you think, okay, who can we bring into a sub that's going to cover, got a bit of experience, going to cover a little bit, but give us energy. And tip for young players, if you don't get your way and you're not selected, don't drop your bottom lip. Stay up, understand how you can still contribute to the team, how you can still give energy to others rather than being a drainer. And eventually you'll get rewarded.
You go to Bunnings, think about doing some flooring, you might be lucky to get a call up.
It is hilarious, really. I think it would have been funny if he had a sausage in hand. It's the beauty of this lineup, Collingwood, that they can bring so many new players in, and they have got depth. Will Parker came in, Will Hayes came in, Oleg Markov came in. They've added from last year with Harry Perryman, Tim Membry and Dan Houston. I mean, Tim Membry start again in this one as a delisted free agent. Saints didn't want him. Here he comes. Might be a chance to land a premiership team for Collingwood. And they are top of the ladder right now. And they got a percentage boost out of this. They gained, I think, 3%. So their 9 wins, 2 losses began the day with a percentage of 129. They've added to that in this one tonight, even though they had so many players out.
Yeah, impressive. That plug and play concept, it's fantastic for younger players. It's just so predictable to come in, fall in line with that system, and we saw it on show a few times throughout the game, especially in the second half where younger players were involved and they knew exactly what to do. So predictable to one another. It's great to see, and it's going to be a cracker next Friday night. I can't wait. MCG Friday night against Hawthorn.
So they've Hawthorn, MCG, Melbourne, King's birthday, and then they're by Collingwood. So it sets up nicely for them. It's probably a pretty well-timed bye.
When you get ahead of a ledger like this and you start really well, you end up, you're looking forward to these challenges that get it thrown at you. Our game's in good shape, so let's get that pressure test against Hawthorn. Let's get another test in a big game on King's birthday. Just a few of our cohort have got egg on their face after the round zero sort of commentary about Collingwood, haven't they? Oh, they didn't. They
were a vision.
They really bad pre-season. Obviously not prepared. Nick Dacos, he's not up for it.
You're going to name
do we ever go back and announce
the couch? That's what the couch can do. We should go back.
Can you spend a bit of Dwayne's World time on that?
Yeah, we'll go on.
Interesting to go back to that.
Spend 2 hours on things that media people got wrong.
Wonder who sung his voice as well.
Nick Dacos, 38 possessions. Josh Dacos, 31 possessions. And it's just a beautiful sight here. The emotion of Craig McRae. 4th season as coach, 3rd in year 1, wins a premiership in his 2nd season. They missed the finals last year, Collingwood. And what a bounce back this has been.
It's Trevor Andy.
That's
Skills coach, the mental skills coach.
one of the great men.
One of the great men.
And there's lived a life of high performance and expectation and pressure on self, and that's largely what he teaches players and staff at the club, is around giving themselves the best chance to perform. Yeah, he gets them out.
Gets them out there down to Port Phillip Bay, around the pontoon. You wouldn't want to take him on.
Learn a bit about the surf, just let it go.
So a 45-point win to Collingwood up. They were 9 points down, 15-18, 108 to 9-9-63. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your top team on the AFL ladder, with Will Hayes on debut in the middle.
We don't have to play again. Side by side we stick together to uphold the Magpies and Almighty. See the barricades are shouting as all barricades should. All the premierships are game for the good old Collingwood.
You are watching the Saturday Debrief, brought to you by the Toyota Land Cruiser Prado. Oh, what a feeling. David King, Jack Rewalt, Jay Clark. What a professional performance from such a professional club. 8 goals to 1 in the final term to pump North Melbourne by 45 points. No Darcy Moore, no Steele Sidebottom, Scott Pendlebury, Jordan DeGoey, Bobby Hill, Dan McStay, or Lockie Schultz, plus lose Braden Maynard in the first quarter. That is some sort of performance.
Yeah, well, I was worried at half-time because David King was reminding me that I said that Collingwood should win easily. And at three-quarter time, still Kingy, it was looking a little bit dubious, but just an outfit that has pure belief. I think you can sum it up in the word belief. And players come in, we spoke to Oleg Markov there, obviously, with Cam Mooney's. They come in and they believe they belong in the side, whether it be their first game or 200th game, and they just perform. They fill a role. Craig McRae has a fantastic system down there at Collingwood, and whoever it is does the job.
That's it.
Next
Believe in the
soldier up.
system. Yep.
Next soldier up. It was a great performance.
I think the best sides have burst scoring power. And we've talked about this a couple of times already this season. To get 8 goals on the board in a 30-minute window is powerful, but they got about 6 in a hurry. And I want to talk about the flip side of the coin. The Kangaroos brand the first half. Did it keep them in the game? Absolutely it did. But where does it take you? 71 marks and a half of football. It's to me a bit of a meaningless performance because you don't get the development minutes into these young players that they desperately need. They need to learn how to play the game of AFL footy.
You reckon they're playing the wrong brand?
Well, kick and catch for 60 minutes, I don't know if it helps you.
The uncontested.
It's a bit of a trend, I reckon, throughout the AFL is that sides don't want to, they don't want to win, they just don't want to lose. And I believe King is on the back of what you're saying as well. I reckon there's a few sides out there that just need to run the gauntlet. Teach your kids to play offense.
Not many
Teach them to be
take
brave.
70 marks and a half. That's an outlier, that tonight. 70 and a half.
It's an interesting way to play, just to chip around, sort of keep it off. I obviously believe that's what worked for them last year when they went well against Collingwood, but you're not going to go forward playing that brand of
That's
footy.
exactly
it's
what
not,
I'm saying.
It's not going to win you.
You're losing development hours. You're losing 2 hours. You get 22 opportunities or 23 opportunities in 2-hour windows to develop your squad into the way you want to play and develop these young kids into hardened 60-game, 80-game AFL-ready performers. And I don't know. They're in the game, and it's hard to be critical of them because it's a three-quarter time that they're in the performance. But the method to me is so important, so critical to the development.
If they're trusting the contest more and playing more of a contested game, does it expose them more against the best sides? Maybe that's the concern for Alistair Clarkson. And Brad Scott's doing a bit of this. We've mentioned about Essendon as well.
Yeah, and we've been critical of that.
Yeah.
So it's hard to just accept this one and be different towards other teams. But yeah, Clarko will have his answers for that. And it's hard to be super critical because they were in the game, but it's a bit of a false mechanism. It's a bit of a false economy. Yeah.
The worry for Collingwood, sorry, Kath, you mentioned the injuries before. Braden Maynard with that foot. He was troubled by a plantar fascia issue for the bulk of last season, and again over pre-season. He had a really limited pre-season with a foot issue, so they took him off early. We'll get more detail sort of post-match with Craig McRae. I hope that's not a serious flare-up of the plantar fascia issue, because you mentioned they've already got a long injury list, and that depth has been tested a little bit for the Pies, as we saw tonight. so they'll hope that that's not too bad.
All fair points you're raising, but can we be a little bit more positive?
Yeah, we can.
We always go down the losers or the injuries. Can we just celebrate Collingwood for 5 minutes?
Yeah, I think the balance of Collingwood tonight, without if you remove the Dacos boys, who've had 38 and 30, it's a relatively balanced list behind them. Like Jeremy Howe hasn't had a great night tonight. He performed well last week. You mentioned Maynard going out. It was guys like, Isaac Quaynor sort of got back to a little bit of his best, had 10 intercepts behind the ball.
Ned Long was pretty big.
Yeah,
And he is standing by. Thank you. A bit of positivity, finally. He is standing by in the Collingwood change rooms. Ned, congratulations on such a great performance yourself and a great team win. We were just talking about the belief within this Pies group that no matter who you're missing, you're still quite confident of the system stacking up and you getting the win. Is that what you're feeling as a Collingwood player?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we come in every week with belief. We stick to our process during the week, train really strong with great intensity, and come in the game day, like you said, with belief and feeling like we can win any game.
Ned, do you think the coach has put more trust in you? Your magnet now, being able to go into the middle, doesn't matter who's next to you. You know, there's obviously a couple rested tonight. You must feel that there's some greater responsibility shown to you right now.
Yeah, I think so, or I hope so at least. No, it feels good. I think we've got a really balanced team at the moment. Obviously, we had a couple come out this week, but other boys just stepped up, and whoever goes through there, we feel like we can have a really good performance and, get the win.
Can you take us inside the mind of Craig McRae pre-game? Obviously, Pendlebury the laid out, and Bobby Hill as well, still side bottom. One of your great champions rested during the week. How does he approach it when a lot of those senior players do come out and it gives guys opportunities? Is it a different type of messaging from Craig?
No, it's pretty similar, to be honest. It's the same week to week. Obviously, we needed some other boys to step up this week. We've got, like you said, some amazing leaders who came out this week and some really great experience. So some other boys had to step into their positions and their roles, and I think we did that really well today and had a really balanced performance.
Ned, yours is an incredible story, mate. 29 possessions tonight, cut from Hawthorn a couple of years ago. For all the young people who might have dealt with rejection or might be in a similar situation, how did you forge through? How was the resilience? How did you get back up on your feet, mate, after being cut?
I didn't try and dwell on it for too long. Obviously, it was really disappointing getting delisted by Hawthorn, but just went back to my strengths and was lucky enough to come into the Collingwood VFL program where I had some really great help, great coaches and players, and then was also able to train alongside the AFL. So I think from a resilience point of view, it was just about working really hard, training really hard, and then finding an environment that's really helped me thrive.
Now, Ned, you're a second football club now, a man who came in very late tonight, Oleg Markov, at his third football club. Now, I have been a teammate of Oleg Markov, so I want you to get a little bit loose here and actually tell people what Leggy is like, because he's a unique individual, isn't he?
It's probably a good way to describe him, unique. No, he brings so much energy for our group. Obviously, you saw the goal celebration tonight. I think it got every single one of us over to him after it happened. So, yeah, he brings so much energy, so much electricity. Just a really fun guy who, brings a lot of laughter and joy to the group.
What's Craig focusing in on at the moment? What's the area that he's putting the most time into with you guys? What's just lacking or just not quite there that you're trying to gather through the mid part of the season?
I think we're trying to build week to week, make sure that we're staying consistent. So obviously we build our game off pressure. That's part of our DNA, and then our system and structure around that allows us to do that. And then when we do that, we play on instinct. And I think we've got a lot of talent spread across the ground, which obviously it's we are allowed to flourish.
And a huge talent in Nick Dacos. I mean, how much do you marvel at him, particularly that final quarter? Was it 17 disposals in the final quarter, 38 for the match? There's constant criticism about Nick Dacos and whether he's had a quiet game or a big game, but you must just sit back and enjoy the show sometimes.
Oh, absolutely. He's one of a kind. Best player in the comp. He cops the most attention week in, week out. I can't believe what he has to deal with. And his consistency every week to put up a great performance is is second to none. And I think that starts from his preparation and his training, and that is the best in the comp. And I think that's why you see on game day him consistently perform so well.
But Ned, do you think there should be an inquest into how much these two brothers pass the ball to each other? There is something like it. They wax it, honestly. Are they taking the mickey, mate?
It's funny to watch sometimes, just sitting in the middle and seeing them go back and forth. But they've got such great chemistry, and they're elite ball users and elite kicks and elite decision makers. So we're happy when the ball's in their hands.
Ned, have you ever got a Brownlow vote?
No.
Okay, well now's your chance. Now's your chance to pitch for 3, because we all think that you potentially might take home the 3 tonight. Yes, Nick Dacos has had 38, 17 in the last. You've had 14 tackles. You've had 15 score involvements. Now's your chance to just plead your case to the umpires. They may be watching Fox Footy in the umpires' rooms. We don't know, but surely the 3 Brownlow votes for you tonight.
Nah, give it to Nick. Deserves it.
Come on.
That might be important, man. It's like, if you can play like this, you might be on the table sitting next to him when he wins.
Hopefully I don't steal any votes. I want him to win it.
Hey, Nick, keep doing what you're doing because it's working. Congratulations on this win.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Andrew Dillon can have a lot of fun on Brownlow night with that game.
Yes, that's a good pickup for you.
Yeah.
And Dacos, sorry.
3 votes.
Yeah.
Let's get into our Ashley and Martin turning point, shall we? Who's owning this one tonight?
Well, it was a domination. Collingwood had the chance to do this in the third quarter to blow away North Melbourne, but in the fourth quarter they finally kicked straight, Kingy, and they were able to really kick away, and a margin that was much closer at 3/4 time became pretty quickly early in the fourth quarter, one that was unassailable for the North Melbourne Football Club. The forwards started to get a lick of the ice cream. Tim Membry kicked 3 goals tonight, and he's starting to find his feet. He's been a great pickup for Collingwood. I think that mid-sized forward working well with Brodie Mychik and obviously Dan McStay out at the moment, and the man who I think is a unique individual knocked one home, Oleg Markov, and Harry Perriman, another pickup, was fantastic tonight as well, in a really well-balanced effort all over the ground from Collingwood.
Oh, this is powerful, and it's when you're a team like this, it's the easy tonight they were going through the motions. Really, they know they don't necessarily have to be up for this level of competition or this event tonight, but to be able to say, righto guys, let's go. Nick has 17 in the last quarter. I know there's a bit of wax in there and a couple of double ups, but it's still his ability to say, hey, let's separate this game, let's put it to bed. They're an awesome side to watch.
So if you're Brisbane, Gold Coast, Geelong, Western Bulldogs, those other top contenders, what are you sitting back and feeling a little threatened by when you watch Collingwood?
Oh, the injury list, I reckon, probably more than anything else. You look at what they do tonight and you look at how they've been able to manage players, but I think that they're playing potentially a better brand of footy than 2023. And that's really scary, because they were really good there. I reckon this is just system getting better, and once you compound games together and playing the system, they haven't changed too much from obviously when they won the flag in 2023, is that their 2 generals didn't play tonight in Sidebottom and Pendlebury, and I just think that they're getting better and better week in, week out, and their depth is becoming deeper and deeper.
I think they were more fleet of foot in 23, off half back. That running wave we saw, swinging through the middle, DeGoey in great form, Dacos on the fly. They were a different looking team. I think they're better defensively this year than what they were in 23, but I think they've got gears still to come with their offense and some players that play significant roles in that change.
And DeGoey's the wild card, isn't he? I mean, he's been really down on his form when he has played. He's got an Achilles issue at the moment, and talking to the Pies today, they're not sure when he's going to come back. It could be 2 weeks, it could be 2 months. It really depends on how it's going to respond. So if they can get him up in some sort of form and fitness at the back end, even if you're playing him forward, we know you used to talk about scoring in bursts, or he can score in bursts. So he's a bit of a wild card for the Pies.
They're the one club, though, Kath, I feel they're on a knife's edge with their list profile, their age, and the like. If they cop a spate of injuries, they're in real trouble quick because of their experience. And I think what's normally a 2-weeker might be a 3-weeker for some players, or 4-weeker. So I think they're managing this perfectly in the mid stage of the season to get to a bye, to get to a chance to refresh these guys. But they're going to be on a knife's edge
right through the whole season.
When do they turn their attention fully to finals? Because they're banking wins now. That like you think probably 14 to 15 wins get you your top four. Maybe when they hit that number, that's when they go full preservation mode to actually attack September with a full list. They've got
Can
to the
that be
bye
dangerous
now.
though sometimes?
I think
fine balance, isn't it?
with a younger side potentially, but you're resting guys like Sidebottom and Pendlebury, and they don't miss a beat when they miss a week. They come back in and they do their job. And I think that's a luxury that they have banked so many wins early on in the season, especially close ones. The last 2 weeks, I think the Freo game's huge. And tonight, it potentially was a danger game. It looked like a danger game for the first part of the game. They could have lost, but they banked another win with a side that doesn't have 8 of their best players in it.
I think they aren't afraid about the age profile. I think all those guys go again, though, don't they? Next season, aren't they playing well enough to go again? Pendlebury's 20 games off the games record.
Yeah, you fall off the cliff. Some players fall off quickly, and are gone. And virtually in the pre-season period, they can be finished. So it's a long way to go. They're stacking the wins. They're playing some pretty good footy. They've got assets that some can't really match. I mean, those two Dacos magnets. Seriously, you have to think about tagging both of them every week, and then you got to think, oh, can we actually do the job tagging these guys?
They didn't tonight.
No.
Should North have put more? I mean, should clubs? We saw you spoke about this earlier. Geelong tagged 2 players on Thursday night. Should we be seeing more of that, particularly when you come up against N and J Dacos?
Yeah, I thought given the success of last year's first 3 quarters against the Kangaroos, they might have opted for that. But he's just so difficult to get the job done on, Nick. And they thought that they could play the uncontested game and keep the ball out of Collingwood hands, which you can debate worked for a half.
Well, you must be very proud to be a Collingwood supporter at the moment. They're just flying on field, professional off it, sitting 9 and 2 at the top of the ladder. Absolutely happy days for the Magpies. We are going to switch our focus to the West because there is still a game playing out on Super Saturday Live, and that is that.
All right, folks, they're switching their games over. Oh, my gosh, it looks like it's absolutely belting down rain over there in Perth. Holy moly, she's raining cats and dogs over there. Just to let you know. There we go. 6 3/4 minutes left over there at Optus Stadium. It's Fremantle 13-10-88 leading Port Adelaide 6-7-43. I think the coach of Port, Ken Hinkley, maybe his weeks are starting to really tighten up. I think it's time they might even think about changing him in a couple of weeks. But what a game. What a game this. Hey, was this the same Collingwood team in the first half or the first 3 quarters to the final quarter? The Magpies taking out a great victory here, 15-18, 108. North Melbourne 99-63. The Magpies, 8 goals won. Folks, yes, that's correct. You heard me correctly. 8 goals won. 8 goals won in that final term. North Melbourne, 1 goal won in that final term. I tell you what, they finally got their kicking boot on. I think the difference was North Melbourne, the Pies, they lifted their game. And, of course, the Dacos brothers came into it. Ned Long, they were absolutely fantastic. Nick Dacos, 17 touches in that final term. Thank you, mother, for the Rabbits. And, of course, North Melbourne, look, they played well the first 3 quarters. But, as we were saying early in the game, with everyone there in the live chat, for a team that's up and coming like that, it's pretty tough to put 4 quarters of pure run and pressure like they were showing. And Collingwood only sort of, they hadn't done much in the game, to be honest. They were just kicking ordinary and still probably should have been ahead. So that always gave you hope that Collingwood, once they got the game right, would get on top. And, of course, North Melbourne pressure, etc. Just dropped off a little bit, but North Melbourne, maybe next year, maybe a couple more draft picks, I think will certainly help them. That's all, folks. Just about. Hey, let's run through some of these stats. Let's have a look at the goal scorers because we want to see the Collingwood goal scorers. Jamie Elliott, 5 goals. He kicked a bag tonight. He's having a great season, kicking a few bags, isn't he? Jamie Elliott, 5 straight goals. That's how you kick them. Tim Membry ended up with 3. Brody Myercheck with 2. Lockie Sullivan ended up with 1 with Perryman. Markov, they love him. Oh, look, Markov, he's a great man. Will Hoskin-Elliott, of course, Jack Crisp got 1 for the Pies. North Melbourne, Zerha, I like the way this guy plays. He's a great player. I like him up forward. He'd certainly get a game in anyone's team. Zerha got 3 for North Melbourne. The rest was singles. Tazeri, Simkin, Powell, Larky, Constantani. There we go. That's close enough. That's the goal scorers. And Curtis got a single. Let's have a look. I wonder who ended up top of the table on disposal count. Well, there we go. Is that a surprise, folks? Nick Dacos ended up on top. The Dacos brothers. Nick, 38 touches ended up in the game. 22 kicks, 16 handballs, 6 marks, 4 tackles, 4 clearances, 17 possessions in the final term. Wowee. There we go. They were saying Ned Long should just about get best on ground. It'll be either Ned or Nick. Ned Long, 29 touches, 18 and 21 handballs, 14 tackles, 6 clearances, many score involvements. I was saying 132 AFL fantasy points. Of course, Josh Dacos, 31 touches. He was fantastic. Caleb Daniel, he had a pretty good game there for North Melbourne on 30. We're only the 3 players that topped the 30 disposals there for the day. Let's roll on down. There we go. Harry Sneasel on 20. Isaac Quain had a reasonably good game there on 23. Harry Perryman kicked a late goal in that game today. 1 goal, 1 for Harry Perryman's 18 touches. Luke Parker, there we go, just the 16. Didn't have as big an impact as he has had on recent games there. Brody Myercheck, well, he was there. He had 16. He kicked 2 goals, 3. I've seen better games from him, but still not too bad. Jack Crisp was ever professional as always. 16 touches, 1 goal, 1 for him. He was pretty good. Bo McCreary, well, it's just a standard game for him with 14 touches. Toby Pink did reasonably well down back there for North Melbourne. Colby McKercher on 13. Wardlaw, quite game for him today for North. Just the 8 disposals, 8 kicks, 3 handballs, 4 tackles, 1 clearance. That was it. Jamie Elliott, 11 disposals, 9 kicks. 5 of those were goals. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming. Tim Membry got going late. Got his kicking boot on late. That's for sure. 10 disposals, 8 kicks, 3 goals, 2. There we go. Let's roll on down. Good old Mason Cox. I tell you what, I think that was the worst game I've seen him play. He had a little bit of a whinge and a whine at the umpires too for not getting a free kick. Just get on with the game, Mason. 3 touches, 2 kicks, 1 handball, 2 marks. He actually had 2 tackles, 8 hit-outs. Let's have a little bit of a look at the team stats. Collingwood got it back a little bit there. Still 25 plus to North Melbourne. There we go, 47 plus kicks. Handballs, and Pies got that linked up a little bit nice. In the final quarter, plus 22. Inside 50s, both teams above a season average, 48 for North Melbourne. How many scoring shots? 18. So they need to do better than that. They need more scoring shots than 18 out of 48. And, of course, the Magpies inside 58 times for 33 scoring shots. Tell you what, just as well I kick a little bit straighter, made it look a little bit better for them. All right, there we go. Free kicks were pretty tidy. Yeah, all pretty. You know what? The umpires, I think, for once, I think they actually umpired this game reasonably well from what I saw. 17 to 15 plus 2. So there we go. Both under average on the free kicks. So that's always good. Hit outs, North Melbourne by 5. Clearances, well, North Melbourne, they did the damage today. But the Pies got it going in that final term. It was plus 9 in clearances, plus 1 in the centre clearances, plus 8 in stoppages. Contested, there we go. North are, I'll tell you what, it was just that pressure, contested ball they were getting in those opening 3 quarters. Uncontested, the Pies had a fair bit more uncontested in that final term. They controlled that last quarter. The turnovers were really good. Kangaroos season average, Magpies under season average by about 20% there, so that is really good at 49. Marks inside 50, Pies were good, 13. North had it a little bit there too, so both pretty much on the season average. North a little bit better than the Air, 14 to 6 contested marks, and we just rolled down to the tackle count. Well, there we go. Magpies 90 tackles, there we go, 50% on their season average. North a little bit low, but they did have minimal tackles in one of the quarters. Tackles inside 50, 10 to 20. Wow, that's great tackling, great pressure. in their forward 50 for the Magpies. 20. Show us the ladder. All right, let's go and have a look at the ladder. That is the live ladder, folks. That is the live ladder. Collingwood. Good old Collingwood forever. You are premiership favourites. Come on, Pies. The Pies, after today's victory, have played 11 games. They go back on top where they belong. 9 wins, 2 losses, percentage of 132.9. That's a nice, healthy percentage. Not just on top with the points, also on top with percentage. Whew. After Brisbane's win today, we needed Collingwood to win today because they got some reasonable games and they've got the bye coming up in 3 weeks' time. I think Collingwood play Hawthorn next week. North Melbourne have got the bye next week. So poor old North Melbourne, they're still down here in 17th position after playing 11. Just the 2 wins, 8 losses and 1 draw. Of course, this is the live ladder with Fremantle. They'll go on to win this match. So they'll jump back up into 9th position. But there is the ladder. That is just fantastic to see. The mighty Magpies back on top of the ladder where they belong. Of course, they will be flagged favourites. I'll tell you what, it's going to be really interesting to see who's going to be up there with them. Of course, Brisbane were just absolutely fantastic. Back to their best today. Gold Coast Suns, I tell you what, they're in form. They're playing really well this season. But the trouble with the Gold Coast Suns, can they travel? Can they travel? And one other thing for the Gold Coast Suns, they play tomorrow. They play St Kilda down here in Melbourne tomorrow. So we're hoping for St Kilda victory. Hey, and don't forget, Gold Coast Suns and Essendon still have 1 game up their sleeve that they didn't play. I think it was in the opening round, I think, with the Cyclone up there in Queensland. If Adelaide win, they go 4th. I know. I don't know. Has Adelaide dropped off their form a little bit? Has Adelaide dropped off their form? I'm not too sure. But Adelaide have been fantastic the first maybe 9 rounds. Maybe they're starting to peter out a little bit. We will see. Let's just have a little bit of a look. Where is... I did have it up. My gosh, I did have it up somewhere. Let me just go back in. What was I looking at? Adelaide. Well, that's it. Adelaide do play West Coast Eagles tomorrow over there at Adelaide Oval. West Coast coming off a fantastic win, but geez, I tell you what, travelling to Perth. West Coast travelling over to Adelaide. I know it's not as far as Melbourne, but Adelaide are pretty good at home at Adelaide Oval. Would expect Adelaide to win that game. So if they do that, they'll move up. I tell you what, they will move up. They will move up. Western Bulldogs have already played. Adelaide. If they win, they'll go to 28. Yes, Adelaide will move up into 4th if they win that game tomorrow, providing they don't lose percentage. I don't know, they may lose percentage if it's like 1 or 2 points the margin, but I think Adelaide will definitely move up into 4th. I think they'll win by a reasonable good margin over there tomorrow. And, of course, Melbourne are playing Sydney tomorrow, and then St Kilda are playing the Gold Coast. So, yeah, let's hope the Saints, I don't know about all these funny names they give them. Where is it? Euro Roki or whatever it is. There we go. So St Kilda down here tomorrow, 16 points. Hopefully they win. They're playing at Marvel Stadium, and they'll go up to 20. So we want to hold Gold Coast back. But the thing about it is, Gold Coast, they're unproven playing the big games at the MCG. It's just if Gold Coast can end up 1st or 2nd and they get a home final, I tell you what, they are super hard to beat against any side. They are super hard to beat on their home deck. Wow, that's going to be the issue. But I tell you what, if you're playing Gold Coast Suns in the grand final, I tell you what, you'll be loving it because Gold Coast have got to travel to the MCG where it's really hard. But this is fantastic news, fantastic news. What happened to that ladder? Let me reload that. That's better. That's better. Collingwood sitting on top of the ladder after 11 rounds. We've got to love that. We've got to love that. There we go. Isn't that fantastic? Hey, let me put that back on there just for a moment in case anyone's coming in late. Let me just recap that other game. It's full time over there at Perth Optus Stadium. Fremantle, there we go. Fremantle took out the big victory by a fair margin. 15-10, 100 Fremantle. Port Adelaide 7-9, 51, 49-point victory there to Fremantle. So there we go. So Fremantle, where are Fremantle? Warrior. There we go. So Fremantle, I don't think that's actually updated yet for Fremantle ladder. They'll go to 24, so that means they'll jump up into 9th position. We'll jump up into 9th position. Percentage out of the 8. There we go. So I think I mentioned tomorrow's games. Hopefully I may be home. If I'm home, I'll cover all these games tomorrow. They'll sort of run into each other. But the first game, I'll probably get the full first game, and then 1, 2, then probably the final 3 quarters, and then I would say the final half of the last game, which is Adelaide Crows taking on the West Coast Eagles. 1:10 p.m. Melbourne time. That's over there at Adelaide Oval. And straight after, during that will be 3:20 game, Melbourne taking on the Sydney Swans here at the MCG. And of course, at 4:40 p.m. at Marvel Stadium, St Kilda taking on the Gold Coast Suns. Now, I did give a bit of a, where was it? I did mention to, because there's probably only Collingwood supporters here, if I've still got it here, I missed it. I was going to give you the next 4 games. I think next week's game, Friday night, of course, North Melbourne, I think you've got the bye next week. Collingwood next Friday night football, I think it is. Huge match, of course. Collingwood will be taking on Hawthorn. Holy moly, that's going to be another monster match. And hopefully we've got half of those experienced players coming back. Hopefully Pendles will be back. Maybe Side Bottom will be back. And players of that ilk. And then I think, my gosh, fixture. I did have it. I wrote it in the chat, and now I just can't remember it. So we've got Hawthorn next week. And then, of course, the next game after that is the following Monday, June 9, is Melbourne will be taking on Melbourne. Collingwood will take on Melbourne. And then we have a bye. And then Collingwood, after the bye, will be taking on St Kilda. A little bit bizarre that game will be at Marvel Stadium. There we go. It's a little bit bizarre why that's at Marvel Stadium and not the MCG. Maybe they got something on. So that is the games for Collingwood coming up. So it should be pretty interesting. Probably should win at least 2 of those 3 games. The only game that could be iffy, well, Melbourne could be a little bit tight. Melbourne are coming up all right. Depends how they go tomorrow. We'll see if Melbourne is back to form or they get poleaxed tomorrow. That'll be interesting when they play Sydney. I think the tough game could be next week against Hawthorn. But we should have some of our senior players rested and ready for that match. And of course, Hawthorn had a pretty tough and grueling game there today against the Brisbane Lions. So there we go. Great win for the Giants. Carly, absolutely. That was, you're a Giants supporter. There we go. I tell you what, the Giants did well. And of course, Toby Green, his milestone game. 250 games, I think, for Toby Green today. He was fantastic in their game today. So Freo might make it. They might, but I tell you what, they're an up and down side. In 2023, we ended up on 72 points with 127%. I tell you what, 2023. Oh, that's when we won the flag. Last year, 2024, Collingwood missed out on the finals, and Brisbane can thank Sydney Swans, and to be they can probably thank the umpire for giving that free quick kick, costing Collingwood the game, which put them out of the finals. Because if Collingwood had made the finals that year, it's quite a big possibility Brisbane wouldn't have won the grand final. Because I think Collingwood beat Brisbane 2 times that year, and if the Buys had got into the finals, they would have played Brisbane in the first round of the finals. So. Look, things work out. Maybe, I tell you what, it could just well be another Brisbane Collingwood grand final. And wouldn't that be an absolute cracking game? Without doubt. I think they're the best 2 teams over the past 3 years. It was just through Absolute injury-plagued team last year. Collingwood missed the grand final. Not the grand final, the finals, I should say. They had players left, right and centre out of the season last year, and that was certainly tough on them. But who would you prefer in the grand final? I'll tell you what. The Gold Coast Suns. Gold Coast Suns. If Collingwood to play, I'd like to play Gold Coast Suns because I don't know whether the Gold Coast Suns play well at the MCG and on the big stage. I think that would well and truly overawe the Gold Coast Suns 100%. Either them or, even possibly Hawthorn. I think they'll get overwhelmed. I think danger teams. Look, Collingwood, Brisbane, Geelong, Western Bulldogs. I think they are definitely the teams. One, two, three. There's 5 teams there that have been there. They've done it. They've got the experience of all that. And I think when it comes to the grand final, it's just a totally different game. And I think they've been there, done it. They can handle the pressure. They know what's to come, and they won't be overawed with the occasion. Look, I know some of these other teams like Hawthorn, maybe Adelaide. They play in front of big crowds, but I tell you what, grand final, that's a whole different kettle of fish. Freo. I wouldn't mind playing Freo, give them a little bit of a touch up. But if you're in a grand final, I love that when you're in a grand final and it's a close match and like the margins within 10 points. Like the St Kilda one when we won there, and I like the Brisbane one. Oh my gosh, I tell you what, you're sitting on the edge of the seat. You're cheering on you. Oh my gosh, the adrenaline's going, the atmosphere. Even just if you're sitting at home watching the TV, watching the grand final, it's electrifying because it's just so tight. It's a fantastic game. But I could. Oh my, 2010, what a year! I tell you what, it was a fantastic year. Look, Collingwood was certainly the dominant side that year. They won the grand final against St Kilda, and can you believe it? In the grand final, they just didn't play the way they'd been playing throughout the season. And thank goodness we got the draw, because I thought when what's his name? Oh my gosh, what's his name? The blonde guy from St Kilda who took that big mark. No, it wasn't. It was the other bloke. Anyway, he took the mark, 5 minutes to go. And I thought, this is just made for St Kilda to win this. But thankfully, nearing the end of the game, that ball took a wrong bounce, and the other little fella overran it, and it was a draw, and we came back. And then, in the replay grand final, the Pies actually played like they'd been playing throughout the year and dominated that grand final. So it was fantastic. But that's the difference when I just love a good game on the grand final. I just want a good game. Sometimes when you're watching the grand final, even if it's your team, you think, it's a little bit boring. If you're 50, 60 points up at halftime and it's just cruise mode, you want to, as we always say, a close game is a great game. And it's even better when you win those close games. I think they're games you sort of remember. It's got the hype. It's just fantastic. Hey, thanks everyone for coming in. Don't forget, hey, we did have the poll in here today. I can't remember the actual poll. Where was it? Yes, I did. 68% we went for Collingwood. Well done. 31% or 32% went for North Melbourne today. And I must thank, let me just roll back up the chat. My gosh. Let me just roll back up the chat. Philip Leonard. Must thank Philip Leonard for the super chat today. Appreciate that, Phil. Good stuff, brother. Do appreciate that. Blue Mountains, thanks for coming in here, sticking around for this game and the last game, and of course, hopefully tomorrow. Thanks, Carly, for dropping on by, and of course, everyone else who was in here as well. It was absolutely fantastic. Fantastic day of footy. I'll tell you what, let me just review where were the results today. Results today, folks, of the games today. 1, 2, 3. We had the GWS Giants winning over Carlton, just to recap, 110 to 82. Giants did it well. For Toby Green's 250th. Of course, the following game, Brisbane Lions, fantastic. That was Brisbane of old that we saw there, 93 defeating Hawks. Just couldn't quite go with the champs today. And of course, this match, Collingwood, wow, it was a fascinating, interesting game, this one. And it was certainly a happy ending with the Pies putting on 8 goals, one in that final term. And of course, Fremantle winning at home today, 100 defeating Port Adelaide 51. I think the coach, Kenny Hinkley, might be just about having a half a foot out the door before they swap the coaches there. I think so. That's right, Emmanuel. Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. That's the one. You reminded me last time, and then I think I forgot. I thought, oh, this Millie, what's that, Emmanuel? I was thinking, is that Emmanuel? Yes? No? That's all right. Anyway, Emmanuel, Blue Mountains, they're both good names. Good stuff. Good stuff. Sure was. Yeah, it was a good day. Yeah, all right. I tell you what, I've been talking for way too long. I want to thank everyone for coming in. That is for sure. Thanks, everyone, for coming in. And I'll just, I'll say ciao for now. We'll see you tomorrow. If I'm here, I'll cover the games tomorrow. I'll just leave this on mute here and I'll leave the scoreboard up. For anyone who's coming in to check out their score, go Pies. Thanks all.